It is cold, but it is Friday. Yay! Happy Friday! Blah, blah, blah. I missed the first gaming check. Congratulations on being second. Psycho, congratulations on being first. Cowgirl, how you all doing? All of that. Not letting you speak because I'm speaking right now. How is everyone doing on this lovely, snowy Friday?
Welcome in Cowgirl Casanova for technically being first. Hello Gaming Check, congrats on being second, and Spiting Skinner to be third. Welcome in Psycho, congrats on actually being first, because the redeem is the truth. Hello Skinner, hello everybody, welcome in. Happy Friday! My intro was way better than Tifa's.
Absolutely amazing. I got confused because I saw the first, but you were just saying that you couldn't claim first. I have no clue why you can't redeem channel points.
It could be the browser you're using. Opera and some others do sometimes have issues. The only one I find reliably working most of the time is Google Chrome.
Fair enough. Maybe try deleting some cache. Tifa is the trauma. Wow.
Skinner coming in with the truth. Nice.
I'm the sunshine.
Sure, let's go with that. Gaming Check, thank you for the 5-stream streak.
Love, love.
My streaks have recently been broken, which annoys me sometimes. Like, I know I've been there, but sometimes when I do see that I have like a bigger streak, it's like, oh, nice. The next like 50, 55, whatever is gonna happen soon. And then I go back the next day or whenever the next stream is like, your stream is going to be a free stream streak in 2 days. I'm like, that's not true, but Twitch gonna be Twitch sometimes. Yeah. I lost a streak of 90. It happens. It happens.
Yeah, I also lost one around 100, I think it even was. When I'm pretty sure it was when I was on one of my work trips, and I'm pretty sure I dropped in.
Yeah, you were here.
But it didn't count?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's quality control with you though. With all of you it's a bug. With me it's a bug as well. With Tifa it, you know.
Sometimes it happens. Maybe tomorrow it will suddenly work, who knows.
You wouldn't. I didn't break any streaks. As a matter of fact, I'm the only person who's been in every single stream we've ever done.
That is very true.
You cannot take that away from me at this point.
I cannot claim that. Maybe when you have a work trip,
Not gonna
I'll do
happen.
a stream.
No. I'll find a way to be there. I don't care. I'll take all the gear I need along to do like a co-host kind of thing. We need a Tifa solo. I can't speak anymore. No, even Tifa is. Oh my god, it's Higurashi today. Do you know how much reading I have to do? You cannot infect me with your speakiness.
It's already gonna start.
Oh god. We need a Tifa solo stream. What would a Tifa solo stream be like? I'm guessing. Wait, everybody, think about what games you would think Tifa should or would play during a solo stream. RuneScape.
I've been thinking of doing a solo stream before, like when you've been sick. And I was like, I don't think I can be that entertaining by myself at all.
Yes, you could
know what
be.
to talk about.
Just be yourself. Just keep talking.
Then I was like, nah, we'll just cancel and play again. But if I was gonna do a solo stream, I was actually going to do Franbo, which we then started playing together.
I'm.
And the last time you were sick.
You're welcome that we did it, and I'm sorry I took that away from you.
No, the last time Jack was sick, I was actually going to do it. I was considering streaming Franbo alone. And then Jack was like, oh, but if you don't stream that alone, I can play it with you.
That's
and
true.
I was like, okay, then we cancel this week until you're better. And we play it together.
Because I don't think the world was ready for a Tifa-only Franbo stream. I think it would have been a very different type of experience.
True story.
Not necessarily better. I took one for the team. Tifa, sit like a human. Thank you.
Totally sitting like a human.
Not closer to me.
Thank you.
With your...
Tifa, do you remember main character of Resident Evil? It's not Eric. Valentine? What was
Vincent.
It? What was her first name?
Vincent. Vincent.
Vinny Vincent.
Her name was Vincent. And the other guy's name was Vincent as well.
I was
it was really
talking about the
confusing
girl.
how everybody's name was Vincent.
No, one of them was Bob.
Oh, and Enrico, I think, was there too.
I know one of them was Bob, and I think there was an Eric.
All of us are wrong.
Vincent von Vincent, yeah, exactly.
All of us are completely wrong.
No. The main character was Valentine.
What Valentine?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Stay?
Stay?
Valentine? Day? Do you still not get it?
Yeah, I get it, but I forgot their first name.
You need to give me some sort of feedback
Valentine
whether
was
you
her
now
last name.
understood what I was going for and you're just choosing to ignore it, which is hurtful, but okay.
No, I didn't get what you were trying to say. Like I already said Valentine.
Day.
Sure, well, whatever that.
It's funny in my head. I don't care.
Joel! Jill!
Joel. In an alternative universe where all the genders and stuff are swapped, it's Joel Valentine.
Jill Valentine.
Trying to save Christina Redfield. Yeah. Could be a thing. Maybe one day.
Also, about the drive public transport for a week and just tell us about it. I think yesterday I saw that, what's that, the glasses company, Ray-Ban, is now starting...
No, that's a lie. Sorry, she hasn't even said it yet, but it's gonna be wrong. Just so you know. I'll fix it in a moment.
I saw that company, Ray-Ban or whatever, has been selling
Now it's correct.
glass frames with cameras in it and microphones that just record and film whatever, I guess. when you
Record
turn it
and
on.
film. Versus recording but not filming.
Yeah, I'm trying to say. I was thinking every time I go into public transport, I should just wear those so that I actually can show
No,
that I'm not bullshitting
the
anyone.
world is not ready for that. Also, you have to tell people that you're filming them and get their permission to do that. I don't know how that works in other countries, but in Germany you cannot just randomly film another private person. Generally, you have to get their permission.
No.
Just saying. Google Lens if you got money, or Snapchat Lens if you're a hipster or 15. Something like that.
Snapchat Lens. Google that.
I think Snapchat Lens is
What is
already
that even?
discontinued.
Is Snapchat still
It's
alive?
not a thing anymore.
Oh,
Snapchat Lenses.
I've downloaded Snapchat once because they had the sort of like filter where if you did you started puking rainbows. I love that.
I can do it in real life. Wait. No. No.
That was like the best filter ever. It's the only thing I ever used Snapchat for.
Blah.
That like those rainbow puking.
Yeah, those were good.
Yeah, those were really cool. Love that stuff.
Are you a couple or siblings? It's hard to tell. Yes.
That's not the sort of thing you just say yes to.
Sweet home Alabama. Da, 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 da. Yeah. No, we are fiancés. Each other's.
We're fiancés to someone else.
What's the word I'm looking for? Because in German, you can say it like that. In German, you can say wir sind verlobt. As in, we are fiancéed to each other.
And you say we're engaged.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. See what she's doing to me? I'm losing my vocabulary. Indefinitely engaged, yes.
Yeah.
Until we're finally not lazy and go through the process of marriage. Because, oh my god, all the paperwork. One day.
Jack doesn't want to get married. That's it.
Okay, what have you done to get married?
I have looked at dates.
When? It's the first time I'm hearing it.
Well, Monday morning before 11 o'clock is for free if you do it in the city hall.
So you haven't looked at dates. You have not looked at dates. You've checked when it's cheapest. That's not looking at dates.
honestly, I have asked you what you want for options because I don't really want a whole big wedding thing because it will basically be your dad who will interfere with absolutely everything. So I'm more in favor of the like eloping thing and then just go for dinner. But you were like, oh, but I want a wedding, but I only know 3 people. So we're gonna have a whole wedding for 5 guests. Which also seems like a bit of a...
I'm only stalling because now we keep going to the gym and I hope that Tifa will get into a shape where she can princess carry me afterwards.
I think I can.
Where did that voice come from? It sounded like me.
I can already princess carry you over the door.
Yeah, but you will fuck up your back and that's not good. With how often you go through your back, that's really not good.
Jack's my wife.
No.
You can borrow him.
You guys better stream the wedding? Highly not. No.
Do it live.
No. No.
If you get like one of those certificates that you are, how do you call it in English?
Done?
That you are allowed to marry people.
Oh, yeah. When you're that guy.
Can you do that?
Ordained.
Can you do that to yourself?
I think that's technically the wedding version of masturbation, so I doubt it.
Why not? Is there a rule against it?
I'm married now. I think...
We did it live. There you go.
I'm not ordained. Spoilers. No, I think you can only marry other people. You cannot marry yourself and another person.
I don't know how it works.
Yeah, me neither. I'm just... Congratulations.
Thank you.
Quick, throw some rice. Something like that.
But yeah, we're still having a lot of... Or the biggest thing we actually stopped planning anything is our last name. Like, I don't want to keep my last name.
Yeah.
Jack doesn't really want to keep his last name. So it's like, what do we pick? Then I'm thinking of changing my last name. But that costs like $900 if I want to request that. And it's no guarantee it's actually going to get approved. And if they don't...
Change it to Valentine. Vincent! The name is Vincent!
I'll take from Vincent. You don't get your money back either. So it's like, do I apply for it? Yes or no? And then maybe you would want that name, or we like start fusing it. And then I got lazy and it was too much work and then trailed off. And now it's 5 years later.
Something like that, yeah? No. Oh, actually, yeah, true. It will be 5 years this year. Yeah.
I don't remember.
I remember because we got engaged during the pandemic.
Pandemic?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, it was, because we were in the Netherlands and I was shocked at how little people were wearing masks, because the Netherlands handled the whole mask thing very different from Germany.
No, it was definitely before the pandemic.
It was during the pandemic. Yes, it was.
I do not think so.
Well, one of us remembers when we got engaged, but it's fine.
I'm sure I can.
I still love you despite that.
I'm sure I can still find the date, but it doesn't really matter.
Phantom of the Opera wedding. A, I should not sing. B, I don't have underneath a theater secret grotto kind of money. You've seen my knockoff katana. I don't even have real katana money laying around.
Yes, it's not real.
What do you mean?
The katana is not real. Totally not a 40 million katana.
40 million? Okay, Tifa lives in a parallel universe where things are way more expensive. Inflation hit us really hard. You're already arguing. We never didn't. Like, if there's one constant in this relationship, it's the bickering like this.
Oh, speaking of arguing.
Here we go. Here we go.
Some might still remember that I've been complaining about Jack always complaining to me whether I have my keys and if I take my keys along, when he's been the one who usually forgets his keys.
Water.
Plus, even worse, leaves his keys hanging outside of the door when he comes in and just closes it behind him. But whenever he forgets it, I need to hear that I forget it. So he hasn't done that in a while. That happened like 5 or 6 times. He hasn't done that in a while. And today, the doorbell went. So I like rush over in my pajamas because I was expecting some packages, and it turns out to be the neighbor who goes like, "Ah, keys. In the door. Outside. Thank you."
Are you done spouting half-truths now?
What's the half truth? Are you telling me you did not leave the keys hanging in the door outside once again?
Why did that happen?
Because you went outside and forgot the keys in.
Why did that happen?
Because you went outside.
You just said that. Why did that happen?
Because you brought away packages that I forced you to bring away. They've been laying there for 3 weeks.
So, we had to ship some stuff back. Mostly house shoes for me. Wait. So, can you see the brand on these? Because they don't deserve any type of endorsement. No, you cannot. These. No, I didn't ship these back. That would be weird. Why am I holding them? So, it's cold over in Germany because it's winter. That makes sense, right? So, I get cold feet. I have bad blood circulation. So, I wanted some house shoes so that I don't have cold feet all day. So I bought some, and I bought them in my size. Then they arrived, and I couldn't get my feet in them. They barely fit Tifa, and she has much smaller feet than I do. So now I ordered similar ones again, same brand, because they were the best rated ones, you know, quality.
They're quite nice.
They're quite nice, yes. So I bought one 2 sizes bigger and one pair 3 sizes bigger. I'm currently wearing ones that's technically 3 sizes bigger because this company doesn't know how to shoe size. I cannot tell you why. I don't know why it's so hard. It shouldn't be. But now I still have 2 pairs I need to ship back because they don't fit me. One is my size technically, the other one is 2 sizes too big, but they both don't fit me. Now I need to return them. And Tifa, being lazy, didn't ship them back yet for me because that would have been nice because she goes outside way more than I do. So today, during my lunch break, during a pretty stressful day at work, I decided I'm gonna go bring those boxes away. So I did that. It started snow, hail, raining. It was not nice. It started snowing yesterday evening.
True.
We still need to upload a picture with a little snowman. Yeah, it's a Tifa moment.
It's not a Tifa moment.
Yeah, it is. You're spouting mistruths. Anyway. So I went through this blizzard-like substance, and on my way back, I realized I'm getting all jittery. I don't know if I needed like sugar or something. I don't know, but my blood pressure was going down. Called Tifa to see if she is there. You know, maybe come my way in case I get worse. Didn't pick up.
I was building a closet that was.
Call her again. No reply. I could have died on the way home. It doesn't matter. And it's just me. You know, no biggie. Tifa is just going to do solo streams from now on. So eventually Tifa bothers to check her phone and calls back, which was insane.
3 minutes later.
Insanely kind of her to grace me with the presence of her voice. Then I walked home and I was drenched because it's super shitty weather. I was sweating in my winter coat. I was wet inside. I was wet outside from the weather. And because I didn't want to take all the snow stuff along that was stuck on my coat, I took it off and I shook it out. And because I had a shitty long day, shitty weather, sweaty and stuff, yes, I did forget my keys outside in the door.
Again,
yes. Yeah. And this is the part where we've been watching the main character, Tifa, go after the bad guy, me, for 254 episodes. And now you just got the flashback of me, the villain, and why I turned out the way I did, and now everybody feels bad for me.
Yeah, all I'm hearing is John's.
Yes, my only mistake today was that I'm human.
I know we've told the story before, but it's still really funny, so I'm gonna repeat it. The very first time Jack forgot his keys in the door, he didn't just forget the keys in the door, he also did not close the door. So it was open a bit with keys hanging outside. And that was also during the time where we were being traumatized by our landlord.
A nice neighbor kept ringing our doorbell instead of doing what, well-adjusted people would do to go to the door and check. We turned down the volume, which in hindsight is even more ridiculous because the person could technically look inside because the door was slightly ajar. And they could hear us, but we couldn't hear them because they didn't make a sound. In the end, after like 30 minutes when this person had left, we could hear the footsteps very clearly for some reason.
The doorbell went like 3 times, by the way.
Tifa checked and it was my keys in there.
Yeah.
Again.
Which was really funny because the neighbors were standing in front of the door and were like, shh, turn down the sound of the TV. Turn off the lights because we thought it was someone we did not want to see when the door was just open.
And after Tifa has told the story so many times,
it's still funny.
Poking fun at me, I would like to point out that you were completely comfortable following my plan to just ignore it and turn down the volume.
Yeah, because I didn't know the door was open and the keys were in there. That's the whole thing of the story, not the fact that we were trying to dodge who was in front of the door.
This feels like a Tifa got a Tifa moment for me.
So yeah.
You be the judges of that. Hey Tifa, no Johns. Why didn't you go fix it? Yeah?
I did actually, because I'm the one in the end that went to the door and closed it. Also, do you have Raynaud syndrome? My friend does, and she finds compression gloves and socks help her.
No.
Raynaud's disease causes some areas of the body, such as finger and toes, to feel numb and cold in response to cold temperatures or stress.
No. I don't know if there's a medical term for this. I've had this checked out by a doctor.
In Dutch.
It's not a real thing, you moron. Winter toes is not a thing. I've had it checked out by a doctor once. My veins in my fingers and feet aren't as many as there are with the average human. So everything works the way it's supposed to. It's just my hands and my feet get cold much faster because there's less blood pumping through. Skill issue. On a genetical level, yes. Yes, 100%. Winter what now?
Winter toes.
Yes, Tifa believes in the Dutch myth that one can achieve winter toes, which allegedly you get if you wear socks in winter when you go to bed. Because your body then decides it's too warm, so I'm gonna make my feet cold.
No. It's when you keep going to sleep with socks in winter at night, so that when you don't, you will keep having super cold toes and you will only get warm feet if you keep your socks on. That's basically winter toes. When you have adapted to the sock.
This once again is proof that the Dutch peaked when they started building dams. Rest of life, it's a bit of a challenge sometimes.
I get winter toes.
Yeah, you do, because you make yourself get winter toes. I'm spitting everywhere. This is bullshit. Where's the scientific basis of that? You believe your feet will get cold. Also, I'm sorry. Welcome in, mommy. Happy Friday. I was ranting.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
Here's to you, and late hellos from me. So you got cold feet. Right now I do actually, yeah.
Same, as a matter of fact.
Despite wearing really thick, comfy socks, but I had my feet planted on the ground, so then I'm gonna put my feet on my house shoes so that there is more insulation.
You want the fox?
No, you can keep the fox. It's a big house shoe kind of thing.
So yeah.
But do you know what I would like, Tifa?
What?
For you to tell all of these wonderful people what happened the last time we played Higurashi When By Cry Chapter 4, Himatsubushi. Without looking at the title, we're almost done with it, but no, I finally got it down.
That's pretty good. The last time we played Higurashi was actually kind of frustrating. How you doing, Benjima?
It is not. Hello, Benjima. Tifa is trying to stall for.
I am not stalling.
Recap.
We woke up in the hospital after our wild adventure with saving the grandson, or the minister's
Toshiki
grandson.
Inukai.
Where we ended up with a shoulder, or a gunshot in the shoulder.
Yes.
So we were being treated in the hospital by Dr. Ire.
Yes.
And when we woke up,
Irie was there talking to us.
Ooishi came to visit us and he was like, oh, I hope you feel safe here because, you know, technically the people who shot you and who kidnapped the minister's son are still loose. And they know...
All of Hinamizawa, you know.
And they know who you are and that you might be here in the hospital because, you know, there isn't really a lot of choice when you're wounded.
They've seen your face, they shot you, only place to treat you is the hospital, therefore they know where you are, they know who you are.
So basically he started getting it into our head that it's not safe here.
Yes.
And that's also when we decided to start calling our wife because...
Because we haven't called her in a while, because we magically keep missing the time when we can call her. And Yukie is a wonderful wife about to give birth. Maybe she already has. Akasaka doesn't know yet.
Basically, and she's still in the hospital as well. And there are visiting hours where you can only call her, which was almost up. So we go to the lobby. We go to the payphone that is there to call our lovely wife, and the cable of the phone was cut.
Yes.
So unfortunately, no call there. We asked the receptionist dude, like, hey, do you have another phone? And he goes,
that's a dilly of a pickle you're in.
And he goes, yes, we do have another phone. It's in the office right next to here that you can use. Or you can run to the town.
Akasaka thinking, no, I cannot be all lovey-dovey in public with my wife on the phone in front of other people. Yes, sir, could you please describe a very convoluted and lengthy way for me to now go to get to another payphone outside?
So we were in a rush here, obviously. Like, we really wanted to talk to our wife. We had a few minutes left, but we decided to run in our hospital gown.
Dressed in a hospital gown, bandaged up from being shot and brutalized during the fight.
So we run to town because that's what you do in this situation.
In the flippity-floppity hospital sandals too.
And we finally reached the payphone and lo and behold, the payphone's cable was also cut.
Yes.
What a coinky-dink. Then we talked to the woman in the store next to it.
At the tobacco store.
At the tobacco store.
And she goes,
that's a real dilly of a pickle.
But I can explain to you in excruciating detail where you can find the next payphone. The problem is you are now here and the next payphone is on the other side of Hinamizawa. But if you start running now, Akasaka, you can still make it. That's what he's telling himself. So he starts...
He said, even if I go now, I'm not going to make it anymore. But still, he goes and runs for it.
But I really need to talk to Yukie because she's my wife and I'm a horrible husband. So I'm gonna now sprint across the entirety of Hinamizawa based on the old lady's description, hopefully getting there on time so that I can still place a call. So Akasaka starts channeling his inner Usain Bolt, who wouldn't be born for another couple of years, but that's not the point. And he runs all the way in a hospital gown with the flippity-floppy sandals and the bandages all the way to the next payphone.
And when we finally arrived, and the time should technically be up, what a dilly of a pickle. Yes, I said that on purpose again, Benjamin. The cable was cut again, and suddenly we got this weird feeling of...
We're being watched.
Of being watched and something approaching. And suddenly...
Rika-chama is standing outside. And she's like, I didn't cut the things.
For what we learned in the manga, she's holding the scissors. Wasn't really clear.
Allegedly. They talk about it for a moment. It's abundantly clear that Rika either herself cut the cables or somebody did it on her behalf, that she is responsible either way. So then Akasaka, who checked 3 payphones, all of them had their cables cut, who heard the weird, that's a dilly of a pickle line twice, now goes, yeah, this is super weird. I'm gonna go back to the hospital because I should be doing that. Oh, let's walk together. So they together walk a little bit. They decide during this conversation that for some reason it's in their best interest to drop off Rika first because, you know, she's a little kid. But that's fine because her parents aren't even around right now, because tonight happens to be a certain festival, because tonight is the night of Watanagashi.
And because we have nothing else to do, we were invited to join them. The Watanagashi here was still a bit different from how we know it. There were just some elderly people having a drink together. That was kind of it. No bigger festival as we know it, with stands, dances, ceremonies. So we have a drink with them, all fun and well. Then we go to the little platform thing with the view.
We're still conversing with Rika, who goes, I am an omen of all that is going to happen. In 5 years, the Watanagashi will be about murdering people. People will die on this day. In 5 years, this person will die. In 6 years. Basically, she calls out the entire history of deaths associated with the Watanagashi. Until she stops with, and in the final year, on this day, or the day after, or the day after that, I am going to get killed. Basically, pointing it out, like Akasaka describes it as, she's reporting it. Like, this is all knowledge to her. Not things she predicts are going to happen, but things that have happened and she's just telling you about it. She says she doesn't want to die. And there's a couple of weird lines in there. Oh, stand-out lines, but not weird, not more than the rest of her writing sometimes. She doesn't want to die. And what was it? Sometimes the smallest stone thrown into the water can cause the ripple necessary to change the future. Something like that.
I think you're very off there, but...
Something to that effect.
And that's where we were.
That is not true. After that, Akasaka still went back to hospital because I was like, well, I checked the first payphone, didn't work. Second, third, didn't work out. I had this strange conversation with Rika, who seemed to be possessed by something, because that's not what she normally sounds like. Then I, in the nightgown with the bandages and the flip-flop, had a party with the townspeople. I might as well go home to the hospital because there's nothing else I can do right now. And technically I should still be treated, so he goes back to the hospital, gets let in, goes to his bed and conks out. And that's it. And after that we had a tip from a perspective of Yukie about her husband being a good man and how he does all of these, like his job to protect Japan and other people and the world, and how much she loves him. There didn't seem to be anything super new in there.
Not really.
Ta-da! A recap.
So a dilly also means vagina in Leanne's family.
Man, that's a dilly of... Benjima, it would be horrible if your kids could hear me right now, but that would be a dilly of a pickle for you, wouldn't it? I had to pull that face, otherwise it wouldn't be authentic. Welcome in Dark Lord. Happy Friday. How are you doing?
How did it get to dilly though? Like, that's not a common...
How does any type of euphemism get born? Because you don't want to say the proper word because children are around.
Yeah, I get that, but why dilly?
I don't know, you would have to ask Leanne's family. I've never used the word like that. Pickles are usually made with dill. Maybe it's super deep meta, like a pickle looks more like a phallus, and when we're talking about pickles, the pickle, the cucumber, goes into the brine with the dill. There's anyway.
Like, I used to call, what are those birds called in English? The ones
Sparrows.
I call sparrows.
Yes.
In German, I call the sparrows mushis.
Which is German colloquial language for vagina. Dilly, if you will, Benjamin.
which is basically dillies.
Yes,
so I remember
psycho,
the very first time we were walking in the street and we went past this bush with like super fat mushis.
Sorry, can we start the story at the beginning though? Because I met Tifa and I went over to the Netherlands. Or it was when she came here for the first time, it doesn't matter. So she sees a couple of sparrows just like sitting on the ground doing cute things. And she's like, word. I'm like, what did you say? What's the Dutch word?
Mus.
Mus? Mus what? What is that? When Tifa explained to me that mus is the Dutch word for sparrow. That's just how it turns out to be. But Tifa, when you say, when you have a diminutive, a cute version, what do you do in Dutch?
You put a y behind it.
And what does that then become if it's a little cute sparrow?
Because it can mush you, but no one really says
So she said that. She said that word. And I turned slightly red in public. I'm like, what did you call them? He's like, a mushi. I'm like...
You started hearing mushi.
I'm sorry. Yeah, because that's what you said.
And ever since then, they have been mushis. And I didn't know what that actually really meant. So
I explained it to you instantly.
I do not remember. So I often go like, oh, those mushis are so cute. But sometimes in German too when we're walking in the street. And I do remember getting some quite weird looks.
Yes, because Tifa then also went out of her way in public, surrounded by people, go like, hey Jack, look over there, that's a really fat mushi. And like, you can, please filter yourself, woman, please. So yeah, Tifa got a Tifa moment.
What are you saying? Sometimes these things come from something, like
Yes.
a mushi comes from something, and now I was wondering, that's why you heard your name, Benjima, where Dilly comes from.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was playing a very heated match of Marvel rivals, but what the fuck?
Yeah, it's Dutch. I hope you're winning by a very amount. And if not, at least I hope you're having fun.
Kick ass.
How did we get here? Tifa. That's it. Tifa. That's the catalyst of greatness. That's all that we need.
No. Benjima started this.
Leanne's family started this.
Leanne's family.
Blame where blame is due, everybody. Please send it to Benjima to relay it to Leanne's family. I'm pretty sure they will greatly care about it. In Japanese, mushi means bag or bag. Bug or insect. This is gonna be a great stream to read a visual novel with me not even being able to say bug.
It's okay, you got this. I believe in you.
I don't. But it's gonna be an experience, one way or another.
Yes, it will.
Are you ready, Tifa?
My ear is itchy. Yes, I'm ready.
Me scratch you.
You're not making it better.
Now my ear is itchy too. Synchronized itches. You ready?
Go for it.
I'm sorry, Dark Lord. I think I roughly understand what that means. And given the context of a previous conversation. Mushi no Nakuya. No, text is scrolling.
I'll scratch his brain in the meantime. Maybe it will work.
When the insects cry. There. I translated, it's easier. Leanne and her cousin, as children, asked what the names for the parts were. His was Willy, obviously. And then on the spot, Leanne's mommy said, Dilly.
Oh, Willy Dilly. Yeah, okay. Right.
UK usually would say Fanny when I was young, so it was weird to hear it for the first time. Yeah, it makes sense. I will now not call them fanny packs anymore. You know, those things, the wrap-around little bags. I will call them dilly packs in Leanne's family's honor. Also, true, to be fair, the Dutch equivalent would be poesje.
I find pussy a really annoying word. I don't know why.
I've been called that too often to still have an opinion on that.
Some words are just like bleh, like moist. That used to be a really hated word on the internet.
You need to
point.
properly flex the ass. Moist.
It's like one of those words as well. But yeah, there's so many words and meanings for it. It's just funny to just hear, like, where does it come from?
And it's weird how fanny in America means the bum. Yeah, it's like the other side, you know. And then we went out to an Indian buffet on Valentine's. When we got back, we told our eldest daughter where we went, and she laughed her head off. The name was Piccadilly.
Well, did you pick one?
Piccadilly, also a great name for a brothel run by a member of Leanne's family. But with hyphens. Piccadilly.
Pickles.
Now, let's get into this game. It's not going to get any better otherwise.
We should be near the end though. Like, there can't be that much left.
We did not read the Mother's Diaries yet.
No, we didn't. We saved her.
There we go. Mother's Diary 1. The question is, whose mother?
Doesn't really matter. Shut down like a year later. It was so sad because the dilly was so pickable.
I hope your wife knows you talk about that place like that.
That is really sad. Now you can't even pick your dillies.
Please read the tip. Just the tip.
There was something I didn't like about my child. I first realized it when I started writing these things down. They never warn you about it in any books about raising children, but they aren't just a plaything. I mean, true, I don't recall ever reading a book about babies that mentioned that they're not playthings, now that you say it.
So, me and my mother didn't have the greatest relationship because she was abusive. I'll leave it at that. Right now, I feel like we are reading what could potentially be my mother's diary. I just want you to be aware of that in advance in case I might have reactions that seem... Where did that come from? I can back it up.
Just get rid of them after Christmas in there.
Can I still get a refund?
It's the best time. And now you all have the burden of knowledge. You're welcome.
I don't feel it as a burden. I feel like I've been enriched by it. Thank you very much.
I do appreciate that. This is the knowledge I need.
Yes. I need that knowledge on the screen though, so keep reading.
If they aren't able to feel loved, even when they're not doing exactly as their parents want them to, then those parents are failures. This wasn't something like that though. How can I say it? It's probably harder to express with mere words. I just want my child to be average. As long as they weren't falling behind, there wasn't any need for them to excel at something. As long as they acted appropriately for their age, I would have been fine with it. But my child had been different ever since kindergarten. While the children in her class were running around in excitement about the field trip the next day, she only wore a bored look on her face, aloof and distant. When the other kids broke the equipment for the athletics festival and were apologizing fervently, she only wore a bored look on her face, aloof and distant. When the teacher was reading a fun picture book, only she wasn't smiling. Even if they all got to eat a delicious bento, only she wasn't happy.
Whose diary is this? I would think Mama Furude's.
Uranus.
No, I think it's from the mother of Rika.
Could be. I don't think so though.
Press A! I'm trying!
If it was only this, it would still be in the realm of understanding. However, what I don't understand about my child is that if the aforementioned situation happened again, they'd now act in a manner befitting their age. I don't understand the principle behind that as a parent. Why were they indifferent about that field trip, but happy about this one? Why were they indifferent about that picture book, but happy about this one? Why were they indifferent about that bento, but happy about this one? The former and the latter in each situation seem exactly the same to me. There were even times when I thought the former one was better. I don't understand that child's feelings. During parent-teacher meetings, the teacher always says the same thing. And I would always respond that I don't understand my own child. And we would mope together. I can just imagine.
I don't know, this one sucks.
Maybe the next one will be better.
Genetic lottery, am I right? Tifa's like, oh, children.
My husband, always the optimist, once said that a young child's feelings are different from an adult's. So if there were some things we didn't understand, we shouldn't worry about it. If we don't understand it and it's different, just don't worry about it.
Oh my god, we as parents. Also, hot take.
They'll grow out of it.
I'm not a parent. Benjima, you could probably give us some info on this. When your kids do something you don't understand, have you ever just asked them? Because I feel like... No, like I understand why you wouldn't want to necessarily. Because if you're in any type of relationship, wouldn't it be great if based on your previous experiences you just knew why a person does something? That's usually how that works. You know, when Tifa wants chocolate, she has chocolate. Like, so I understand if Tifa is eating chocolates because she wanted chocolate. Easy, right? But sometimes Tifa does things I don't understand. And I had to learn that I could just ask, why are you doing this? I had to learn that. I wasn't raised like that, unfortunately. But this book, this diary kind of points to that as well. Like, I'm beginning to feel that isn't just I missed out on that step as a person at some point, but that's a more common thing that people don't realize you can ask. And it's fine to ask. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it seems that depends on the age of the child too.
Yeah,
I do feel like, yeah, you can still ask a 3-year-old, but...
But even with a 5-year-old, what's wrong or what's... Yeah, no, what's wrong is the right question. What's wrong with going like, hey, why did you do that? Why don't you look forward to the trip? Why do you not enjoy the bento?
Yeah, nothing. But obviously these have very different expectations of what it was to be a parent.
Yeah, it seems like that.
Like, you don't want to go, why did you kill the cat, little Jack? Why did you drown your hamster? Like, if you have a little psychopath as a kid, for example.
I never did those things. I feel like that needs to be pointed out because you could have picked any random name. Instead, you went with mine.
Jack, what the fuck? Why did you drown your hamster?
That's what I'm saying. I never even had a hamster. I had a guinea pig, and my guinea pig lived a long, very happy life. She got way older than guinea pigs normally do from the book I remember reading as a little kid.
Okay, let's go with little Bob then.
Who is little Bob?
The kid that drowned his hamster.
Yeah, too late. You cannot undo these questions.
You know what I mean? You have certain expectations, and if then this kid is it's like not being a normal kid, I can imagine you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but I don't understand the part of not asking. Tiff, have you ever tried asking a 3-year-old a question? I'm
just saying you can.
How old are you when you go to kindergarten? I was thinking like 4 or 5, right?
You might get some gibberish, but still.
You could still ask, like, why don't you like your bento? Why don't you like your lunch? What's wrong with it? Like, you know, you don't have to let your kid know that you have, like, deeper feelings behind it, but you can ask.
Why don't you eat it, you little shit?
Do you know
Got up at 3 for this.
While you were in bed sleeping, Rio, the farmers were working hard on the field so you could eat carrots. Shenmue still stuck in my head.
And don't forget the typical, you better eat it because kids in Africa are starving.
I've heard that in the chat.
I think everyone has heard that.
Yeah. I think once I told my dad, yeah, and if you gave him this food, they'd prefer to starve.
Oof.
Yeah, he's not the greatest chef.
I lament his lack of urgency.
Understandable.
One day, when I was in a good mood, I took the effort to prepare a menu that my child would enjoy.
Nuggets?
But she only smiled with a vague expression of disinterest. That attitude frankly made me angry, so I hit her on the head.
I don't understand why my child is doing something. Instead of taking any meaningful steps to alleviate, to make better the situation, I hit my child.
I think everyone has grown up with a shoe or two.
Yes, Tifa, you personally are why world hunger exists.
You don't get these cheeks from not eating everyone's food.
Thanks, Africa.
I hate when people do that. I'm just like, I hate it. Blah, 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 blah.
I'm just like, I hate it,
yeah.
Yet you fix it anyway and expect me to eat it? Not happening.
Yeah, I understand sort of where it came from. It's like you don't want you don't want the food to go to waste, which I understand, but like it's the wrong way to go around it because you're trying to like put some sort of guilt into you in the hope that you will eat because of it.
In the case of my dad, it's even dumber. It's not that he made something specifically that he knew I didn't like. He's just bad at cooking sometimes. Like, he looks at a recipe and then he goes like, oh yeah, I think I got it. And then he mixes up 2 ingredients. So like once, instead of adding a bag of curry powder to a dish to make it a curry flavored dish, he used really hot chili peppers.
Not everything has been bad though. He had some really nice dishes too.
Yes, yeah.
Or I enjoyed them more than you.
Yeah, my dad's cooking is like roulette. Sometimes you win, sometimes nobody loses, and sometimes you feel like you're homeless. Yeah. Making food your kid doesn't like is a waste all the same. Yes. It's like,
yeah. And some people also develop eating disorders by that, or an aversion of food. Also the case. Like, you don't leave this table until you finish everything.
16 hours later.
Basically. On a day when the weather was nice. The laundry I had just hung up to dry was blown by a large gust of wind, causing the entire line to fall down.
4D experience.
But she, watching me trying to pick up the laundry in a panic, stood there laughing. That attitude frankly made me so angry, I hit her on the head. I think the same sort of thing happened countless times.
Oh my god.
Before I knew it, my child was only able to look at me with an indifferent expression on her face. I regret the fact that I've been a bad mother. Thinking I should regain her trust, I thought to get it back little by little with some light interactions. Seeing her do some sort of craft work on the veranda, I called out to her.
I told you it's Rika's mom.
Yeah. These past few years have been nice and sunny.
Whoa, what? Are you a time traveler?
What?
These past few years.
Oh, days. These past few years have been nice and sunny.
That's very melancholic for a discussion with a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
These past 4 years have been very nice of you. Thank you for coming out of my body.
Ever since you were born, it's always been nice and sunny because you are the sun rays in my life.
That would have been really sweet, but Rika's mom has a habit of just casually punching her, so...
These past few days have been nice and sunny. The air feels nice, doesn't it? That child, with that indifferent look on her face I hated so much, looked up at me for a moment and then without a word returned to immersing herself in her craft work. Up until now, I would have hit her on the head just for that.
Oh my god.
You're not pressing A, so we know what
Yes.
happens up until now.
I'm trying to process the bullshit that this person wrote in a diary. Like, I'm beginning to understand why the Furude parents were some of the first to get killed in the Watanagashis. Now, I'm not sure if it turns out that Oyashiro-sama was possessing Rika's body, but if I was a guardian deity stuck inside somebody's body and you keep hitting that body, I wouldn't be happy about that. Just saying.
You're supposed to take my points away.
That is
Hi,
true.
Ranger.
Thank you, Ranger. I pressed the wrong button on it. That is very nice of you. So now I did. Thank
We
you.
forgot to accept it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome in, Ranger. Happy Friday. How are you doing?
Technically, I knew this was going to happen because I already redeemed it twice last time.
Ha! Time travel. All right. Oh, sorry.
How are you doing?
Sorry.
Up until now. Oh, I held myself back. What are you making? Is it a doll? A weather charm. That child was using inserts from the newspaper to deftly make some weather charms. The forecast hadn't called for rain.
The weird tips. The choose a box, you get a caramel or a gum, or it's boring when it's sunny. I want it to rain. That
It's
was
gonna be
Rika.
Rika.
That was Rika.
But that child, in her own way, was praying that these sunny days would continue. No, she wants it to continue. The charm is to keep the rain away.
Wait a goddamn second.
So that doesn't make sense.
No, it does. It does make sense. Did it rain in chapter 1?
I don't remember.
And if so, when?
Don't remember. I think it was a rainy day at the end when Thingy got killed.
I think the rain is connected to this. I'm beginning to believe for some reason the rain is connected to all of this.
As in?
When it rains, people get hurt. Or die.
That hasn't only been in the rain though.
When it rains, certain bad things happen. Let me put it like this. Just because multiple bad things happen doesn't mean some of them are related.
Can't agree or disagree because I don't recall if it was raining every single time, but I don't believe so. That would make sense if it was raining every single time. And I don't think it was.
A teru bozu, as we say in America, toilet paper ghost is a little doll you make to keep away rain. I've never heard either term, but I love the term toilet paper ghost. Toilet paper ghost seems like the kind of thing I develop an unreasonable fear of after going to a toilet. Like, oh no, there's a toilet paper ghost stuck in my butt.
So what exactly is Dayquil, NyQuil, and benzoyl?
Painkillers.
Oh.
I think different types. Dayquil and NyQuil are medication you take when you are sick. Dayquil for the day, NyQuil for the night.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
I think there is ibuprofen mixed into those. And maybe some other stuff. I guess Dayquil also has stuff to keep you awake, and NyQuil has stuff in it to make you sleep.
Fair enough. I was somehow thinking of food items. Cold and Flument.
Thank you for confirming.
That is annoying to find out you're allergic to.
Yes.
Because then you're already feeling shit, then you take that, and then you feel even crappier.
Yeah, that sucks. Body needs sleep to heal.
Cold medicine to help you get sleep. Okay, fair. Being able to understand my own child for the first time in a while, I couldn't hide my own happiness. Bringing out a ball of yarn, I began to hang my child's cute weather charms from the eaves of the house. It's no good, Rika. The heads are too heavy, see? They've become reverse weather charms now. If they're like this, they'll call the rain instead of the sun.
That's the point.
When I started to take them down, my child tugged at the hem of my shirt as if to stop me. That's because I made them to be upside down. They're fine. But Rika, if they're upside down, they won't be a charm that calls for a sunny day, you know? Now it's
the 3 tips we got to read that seemed to be from like a philosophical meta-narrative standpoint, like fourth wall breaking kind of thing, those were written by Rika or whatever is possessing Rika. Assuming there's a demon, ghost, god, guardian, whatever possessing somebody.
I was making a charm for it to rain, so they're fine.
And so I hit my kid in the head again.
I desperately suppressed the emotions welling up inside of me. I was trying desperately to understand my child. Oh, I see. The morning glories in the garden were starting to get a little wilted from all the sun, so you wanted some rain, right? That child turned to me with the expression that I hated the most. I got bored of the clear weather. I don't understand. I don't understand. I just can't understand that child.
People, maybe I'm overreading from the perspective of Rika's mother, but I think, there's all kinds of people in the world, but people like that exist, and I think they are amongst the ones that drive me up the wall the fastest and the hardest. Or I don't understand why this is happening, I don't understand why that is happening. Then frickin' ask. There's a million ways to go about this. But you just keep assuming, or you lament the fact that you don't understand. You could ask, you could actually find out in the clearest, shortest, most concise way, but you refuse.
Do you think that applies to when you can't find an item in the supermarket?
Yes. Yes, I do. If I believe that the store actually carries that item. You come with examples like we go to an electronics store and then you want me to ask for an item that based on the inventory they will never have. I can't think of a good example, but it's effectively Tifa telling me, oh, why don't you go into that hardware store and ask if they sell cucumbers?
Even when it's a common product in the supermarket, you go like, if I can't find it, they don't have it.
No. Then I wouldn't want to buy it here anyway, because if I need to study the layout of your store, fuck off. Tired of lying in the sunshine, say you want to watch the rain. And we are young and life is long and there's time to kill today. And then one day you find 10 years have got behind you. No one told you when to run. You missed the starting gun. Time by Pink Floyd.
Don't think I know the song.
Same.
Trying to think if I've heard the lyrics or can think of a beat behind it, but nothing pops up.
I can beat you up the head like Rika's mom did.
During the family council, she buried herself under Oreo's futon again.
Wow, Tifa skipping the honorifics of Oreo Sonozaki. That's dead.
Oreo-san dotes on her unwaveringly. No matter whatever insolence my child commits, she doesn't mind. It's almost as though my child is a kitten or something. Oreo dotes on her. Yeah, there was no dotes on her exactly like you would with a kitten.
Nipa.
As her mother, I chided her for doing that. Until Oreo-san had said 3 times that it was fine. I chided her as a formality. Of course, she never lends an ear to any of my chidings. Knowing that Oreo-san's standing was far above mine, she behaves like that. I don't like the cunning that's unbefitting of her age either.
This is not unbefitting of her age. Children are really smart in a way. So if every time I show a reaction, my mom keeps punching me, and I find myself in a situation where despite having been trained to not show any reaction because then at least I don't get punched in the head.
No, this is about ranking.
Yeah, but let me finish. Now I am in a situation where I do accidentally, I guess, show an emotion, and then somebody shuts my mom down. Suddenly I'm safe. Suddenly I'm safe. Why wouldn't I enjoy this? Why wouldn't I enjoy the being with this person that shields me from my mother reacting to me that way?
I don't really think that's her reasoning, but...
It would make sense to me.
In any case, not only Oreo-san, but the rest of the old folk in the village spoil her too much. Was she the one that got married into the family, or was that the father? It was the father, no?
We don't know.
No, we do know it was in the council meeting we were part of.
I forgot.
I think it was the father that married into the family. The father married into, thank you, I do remember correctly. Because I feel like the mother is sort of acting like she's the one that married into the family at this point. One day I was surprised. By chance, on the way back from some shopping, I saw her by herself just outside a candy shop. My own child suddenly grabbed a snack, opened the package right there and then started eating it. She didn't make any attempt to pay for it, and she didn't even think of looking around. It didn't even feel like she was shoplifting, more like she were brazenly eating snacks that were offered her. When I began to admonish my child, the elderly shop owner appeared and covered for her. The owner gave the ridiculous excuse that he had said it was okay for that child to eat any of the snacks out by the entrance, so it was fine. When I tried to pay for the snacks that my child had eaten, the owner refused my money. During that exchange, more old folks had suddenly gathered around, and it began to feel like I was the one in the wrong. The elderly people all put their hands together reverently in front of my child and repeatedly voiced their respects.
I still have very little respect for Rika's mom as a person because of how she is handling her child. But when you suddenly are in like a Silent Hill type of scenario, where old people randomly go, praise Rika, in front of your child, and you don't understand why. That's gotta feel so weird.
But that's why I'm saying, that's why it kind of feels like she is the one who married into her family. Because the tradition that she could be thingy reborn is already well known in her family too, and in the village. So why does she not understand why people are doing this? She,
options.
of all people, should understand why they are acting like this.
No, 2 options. A, she cannot count. She thinks this is not the 7th generation. Or she just doesn't believe in this bullshit.
Yeah, but then you will still know why they do that.
No.
It's not like, oh, I don't know why they do that.
No, because you reject this on such a fundamental basis, you cannot fathom why other people would give us a second thought.
I disagree. This does not seem... Oh, maybe we should have pressed A.
Oh shit!
Maybe we
Oh
should have
shit!
pressed
I
A.
think it turns out I was completely on the money.
No.
Please read that line. Yeah, come on.
No, you weren't exactly on the money.
No, I think I was. Please, go on.
I don't think so yet. I was born into the Furude family, so it wasn't like I didn't know why she was being treated specially. Yeah, then why is she acting like this? No, you're not right here.
Come on. Read them.
Still doesn't make sense.
Read them and weep.
When I was still young, it was something I heard often from my grandmother. If by chance the child that I gave birth to was a girl, that child would be the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama. All the older folk believe she's the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama and spoil her rotten. And not only did they spoil her, but they even told her she was the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama. That she had a divine power and threw all sorts of strange folk tales her way. So she may have begun to believe herself that she was a special existence. I went around and told everybody that it wasn't good for her upbringing, so to stop telling her all these strange things. But there was no uprooting the elderly people's deep-seated superstitions. Yeah, you're right, Psycho. She can still be annoyed by it.
It's like she knew, but she doesn't care about any of it.
No, that's not it. You're wrong.
If only, like, my favorite letters X was made up out of 2 people. And imagine if by sheer happenstance, one of them would have called that. Like circa...
That would have been handy,
a minute
but you
45
never did.
ago. I feel like I did.
If only you did. That would have been handy. I told my child not to listen to them, but it ended up being that she stopped listening to me. Between all the old folks in the village who would dote on her and myself who only scolded her, there was no wonder why she would listen. There was no wonder who she would listen to.
Sorry, I misclicked. I got excited for being right.
Yeah, but you weren't.
Kids like getting free snacks. It conditions her to thinking these are free, or that she's special. Or maybe when she was walking around because her parents didn't parent, as we also saw during the previous instances where Rika is just wandering around alone, unsupervised by her parents. One of them probably just told you, just take whatever you want. Like whenever you feel like a snack, just grab one. For you, they're always free. Don't even ask, just take one.
Probably. Plot twist, I'm the 3rd letter of X, sitting quietly in a wheelchair in the corner.
No, that is true, because Skinner, you are a G. No, nothing?
A G?
Yeah. Isn't that a thing?
What does that have to do with X?
Thank you. How do you spell eggs? What's the 3rd letter of eggs?
Now I get it. I was like, geezer? Geezer? That doesn't make sense.
A gentleman. Come on, do your lines.
Now that I get it, that was a good one.
If only you had jumped on the train when it was going through the village and not after it already left 6 hours ago. Thank you.
It's okay, I'm not in a rush, you know? I can arrive at my destination at any time.
Are you serious? Tifa got a Tifa moment.
Sad Tifa.
Sometimes our brains just take a moment. It's fine.
That's the reason why our name is my favorite letter is X.
My favorite letter is Tifa reading her line.
There was no mistaking that the reason she had become strange was because of the elderly villagers.
See? She doesn't believe. It's because of her treatment that makes her weird. Not because she is actually Oyashiro-sama.
There was no doubt that they had shoved her full of strange folktales and superstitions since she was young. If it wasn't for that, there was no doubt my child would have been cute and normal.
To a T, what I said earlier. To a T.
No, we already established this.
Now she's just rushing through. It's like she's dodging the bullet there.
One sunny parent-teacher day. There was a cooking class, and my child was making curry rice with a practiced hand. While the other children her age were awkwardly using their kitchen knives, that child was wielding hers deftly. The teacher approached me with a smile on their face, saying it must be a result of learning it at home. I managed to play it off with a vague smile and a nod in response. That was because I had never once taught my child how to make curry rice.
And because children can only learn after being specifically instructed.
Nah, I'm sorry, a 5-year-old that suddenly makes a perfect curry rice, that's suspicious. Without ever seeing it?
That's not what she said. You're interpreting and you're assuming. She wasn't taught how to make it. That doesn't mean she didn't see somebody make it. Or maybe it's because she's currently being possessed by the reincarnation of a guardian deity that is potentially thousands of years old and has lived through generations already in other bodies.
Had to survive on curry rice sometimes.
Oh my god, Chie is Oyashiro-sama? Dun dun dun, sus.
Even then, she was peeling vegetables with a practiced hand, adding them into the pot in the order of which took longer to cook. Oh, what did I say?
Currently possessed. Psycho, I rate that one 10 out of curry.
Oh, that's a high score.
I wish, internally, I yearn for if I had come up with it. Because I would keep making the same pun for the next 40 streams.
In every line.
Yes. I would have retroactively changed the stream title to that. That's a good one.
For a normal parent, they might unintentionally clap their hands together, happy at their child's actions. But in my case, it was different.
I clapped these hands over my child's head.
There was no mistaking that somebody had taught her how to make that curry rice when I wasn't taking care of her. Thinking that, I quietly fell into an unpleasant mood. When I asked, it seemed she could also sew and do the laundry. I had never taught her how to do those, and again never saw her do it around the house. Be it cooking, or sewing, or the laundry. Again, that was probably because the elderly villagers taught her all sorts of rubbish when I wasn't looking. Oh no, cooking is such rubbish. And doing the laundry, yeah, that's rubbish too. I don't need these skills to survive.
Whenever my child does anything that vaguely frustrates me, such as not showing the emotion on her face I would expect her to currently portray, I hit my child. I don't understand why my kid is doing anything and I don't bother finding out why, like asking. I spend so little time with my 5-year-old child that she wanders around the village and other people have had enough time with her to teach her how to sew, how to make curry rice, how to do all of these things.
Well, I can imagine it's really frustrating for her too, regardless.
No.
No, when you are trying... No. This is like when you're trying to raise your child. I'm not saying she's doing it well.
No,
but
stop.
It's the frustration of trying to raise your child and someone is interfering.
No, nobody's interfering. She's not raising my child.
Yes, but I'm saying that's where the frustration comes from.
Okay, yeah, fair. She thinks she is raising her child. Effectively, she cannot be raising her child because otherwise she would know where her kid is learning these things.
So like when I was teaching my dog not to come on the couch. And then the moment I turn around, my little brother and sister, who were like 4 and 5, were like, oh, come on the couch, come on the couch. I never got to teach him to not lay on the couch because every time he was loud. It's that sort of thing.
Difference being that as a parent of a 3, 4, 5-year-old, I would expect you to basically almost constantly be around your kid. I wouldn't.
That sounds like helicoptering.
She doesn't know where her child learned to make curry rice or sew.
Yeah, I get it.
Rika has spent so much time, God knows where, that she picked up entire trade skills.
That's quite handy.
She became a chef and a seamstress in the little time since her birth.
Yeah, I get it. And not only that, they probably taught her all sorts of strange superstitions, trying to prop her up as the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama. The question is, where is she at that time? Working? I said as much to my husband, suggesting that we should keep our child away from the elderly folk. But my husband, who was in the position of being the head priest of the Furude shrine, had little power against the elderly who supported it. He took the rather uncommitted stance of saying that as long as she was being doted upon, wasn't it fine? I argued against that. That she was our child and should be a completely normal girl.
Even if it wasn't for all of these sudden realizations about her skills and abilities, how could she be ever normal if every time she does anything you hit her?
Well, I do understand her main feeling though. Like, if everyone is spoiling your child when you don't want that.
Everybody is doing that because you are never with your child.
I'm not defending her, it's about purely that emotion.
No, I understand that, and I can fully see her thinking she is God's gift to motherhood.
Like, she's gonna be a bitch when she's older if you're unlucky. Because of stuff like that.
Yeah, and she's gonna be a completely different type of cunt than her mother.
Yeah, I'm not defending the mother here, I'm just talking about the moment.
I'm not mad at you, I'm mad at the fictional character whose thoughts and feelings you're reading out.
That was the elderly were expecting. That she was the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama was simply odd. Also, how often are we gonna repeat this line?
Until you get it into your skull.
The elderly villagers believe that child has divine powers. We would discuss the weather for the following day, but there were many times when I left the house without an umbrella and came back soaking wet. Rather than having clairvoyance, that was just second-hand knowledge from her watching the news all the time. The things that she knew that she shouldn't have known were just a result of the people who were trying to indoctrinate her and the people who were gossiping getting together in the village. However, there certainly were days when everybody thought it was going to be sunny all day, and that child would stubbornly not go out without an umbrella. It would occasionally rain, and in the end, we would be saved. There might also have been times where Rika knew of major accidents in foreign countries faster than the news did. I thought she must have heard it break over the radio or something. Knowing things she shouldn't have. Something like that was in front of me right now, wasn't it? That child was making curry rice when there shouldn't have been anybody who taught her how to. No, that couldn't possibly be the case. Somebody had taught her, indoctrinated her. When I wasn't taking care of her, somebody had indoctrinated Rika with something. Furude-san's curry is absolutely splendid. I'll give it a gold star. Where did you learn to cook, Furude-san? At home? Yes, at home. The other parents in attendance were impressed. Lies. All lies. I didn't teach her anything. Who was it? Who was it? Who was the person who had completely indoctrinated my child? She was my normal, average daughter, not the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama.
So I hit her.
Gotta smack it out of her.
I'm gonna punch the god out of you. Oh. Yeah, I wasn't sure yet who was my most disliked character. Rika's mom, taking the top spot easily so far.
No, over the uncle? The uncle is way worse. From...
Okay, sorry, I forgot Teppei exists. Yeah,
Satoko.
no, yeah, true. Teppei is still first. Rika Furude's mother is second.
She's definitely not the worst character. Like, am I saying this is the right way? And
No.
is she raising her child the correct time? But it also depends, how is she hitting her child? Is it like full-on punch? Is it like a little slap? Because everyone in the 90s and before, I want to say, have been raised with a tick on the head.
Either way, it's enough to make her child be completely emotionless. Emotionless. I can't even speak anymore.
I don't think that's the reason Rika ended up like that, because there's definitely something about Rika that we're still exploring. I'm not saying it's correct to do that to your child, and you absolutely shouldn't, and that doesn't justify it, but there's a difference between punching your kid black and blue, like Satoko's uncle does, and a...
Yeah, I don't think it was just like a...
Well, that's the question, isn't it? But right now, I don't think she's the worst character in this entire game.
Which is why I corrected myself, saying I forgot Teppei exists and put him first.
And we still have an entire mafia family in here too.
Yeah, but, you know, gotta do something to pay your bills.
Like, I wouldn't put her above
Also not
child
good.
kidnappers, for example.
Yeah. Difference being...
I'm not saying
don't know
she's
better
on
yet.
the same scale. Sorry.
Carry on. You have feelings.
No,
Let
sorry.
them out.
No, sorry, go on.
I have a really dumb feeling that the people who kidnapped Toshiki Inukai were like, oh, well, it's a job, you know. It's like, they told me to not hurt the kid, so I'm not gonna hurt the kid. But I gotta pay my bills, and I'm part of the Sonozaki clan, so I gotta go do the thing.
But isn't that even worse?
Versus somebody going, yeah, no, I hit my child every 15 seconds if I have to because she's smiling wrong. Nah.
I feel like not having any feelings about kidnapping a child and just doing it as a job is kind of worse.
I don't know. That's a philosophical thing. Who do I like less? The person who is doing bad things, but they
doesn't care about doing bad things?
No, for indifferent reasons, versus a person who is doing what I consider to be bad things and reveling in the fact that she's doing them.
She doesn't revel in the fact? That's not how I'm taking it.
No, she doesn't say it like that, but why does she keep doing it?
Yeah, I agree, that is shitty.
So stop
but
doing
I think
this.
it's more of a
Put your neck
corrective
back.
slap. Which I'm also not agreeing is good. But I'm just disagreeing with your she's at the top of the list.
Which I corrected 5 minutes ago after you
put
brought
her
it
on
up.
second place.
Yeah.
That's still top of the list. The worst character is the game itself.
The worst character is you for not having read all of Higurashi so far, Benji.
She's still under the mafia.
I'm not sure about that. That's my hot take for right now.
We can do a rating stream once we know more.
I need something other than water to drink. Short break?
BRB.
BRB.
We're back.
We are, and I now have a pink drink.
Enjoy. Give me a sip.
Enjoy. It's very diluted.
Nah.
Vitamins. Tifa, are you ready
Smells
for
weird.
episode 6?
I'm ready.
Cool, thank you. It was an accident that happened in such a small village that anyone could forget. One day after the tragedy had come to a close, just as the scars had begun to heal, a young man thinks nostalgically of a little girl he once met. The words he couldn't ask that day, the promise he couldn't fulfill that day, those regrets and lamentations opened the fate that was sealed and become a single hope. Himatsubushi. Fate isn't only about happiness, but there's no one that would wish for unhappiness.
Wait, had we
Midsummer.
finished?
Midsummer 1985. We don't know yet.
Oh, wait, 1985. This was when he was at the airport traveling.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're back in the...
Back in the present.
Back in the present. Oh, it's so cold now. Shouldn't have left the room. Stop it.
That wasn't me,
It's cold. You can't really see, but still.
No, not like that. It's the curse of oyashiro-sama. For you not letting me finish my sentences before the break.
Deserved.
Oyashiro-sama I needed the brain
Damn
cell.
it.
Sorry. You can have it back now.
Papa? Are you there, Papa?
Huh? Oh.
Are you alright? Were you having a scary dream?
Miyuki was sitting next to me. I quickly patted her head after hearing her say that. I must have had a bad dream while sleeping in the cabin. I was sweating profusely. No, it's nothing. I guess it's a little hot in here. I tried to wipe away the sweat while answering and looked around for a handkerchief or a towel. And then a cold drop ran down my forehead. Miyuki turned to me and smiled, then wiped my face with a towel she received at takeoff. Thanks, Miyuki.
Of course.
Thanks to her, I was finally able to shake off my slumber, so I got up from the aisle seat and looked out the window. I wrapped my arms around Miyuki and the window seat. Miyuki? Window seat?
Best friends forever.
I wrapped my arms around Miyuki in the window seat and listened to the noise as the land and sea blew past us before our eyes.
Wow, it's Hokkaido. Hokkaido is so big.
And then the plane gently turned before entering the airport runway. Arriving at the lobby, I glanced around looking for Ooishi, and was met with a familiar gruff voice calling out to me. Yukie died. That's what happened to Akasaka. Wanna bet?
What do you mean, what happened to Akasaka?
That's the bad thing that happened to him.
Oh, makes sense, seeing how he's only traveling with his daughter, yeah.
10 January, Yukie died.
Hokkaido is the main northern island of Japan. I've seen some pictures. I would love to go there at some point.
It's known for being cold, mountainous, and filled with Ainu traditions. I always confuse the two islands. I think there's one at the southwest of Japan, and then there's one in the north. Thank you. Akasaka-san! How many years has it been? It's been a while, hasn't it? Ooishi-san! It really has been a long time. Ooishi clapped his hands down on my shoulders, celebrating our reunion. Akasaka-san, you're looking pretty good. You look like a bona fide frontline investigator now. You're looking quite dapper yourself. Your posture seems a lot better. Is the ballroom dancing paying off? You should give it a try while you're still young. You'd be a hit with the ladies. A real babe magnet.
I wonder where he's taking ballroom classes. Doesn't really seem a thing in the village.
He isn't in the village, he lives in Sapporo, which is a city.
Oh yeah, true. I keep forgetting he's not in the village station.
Okinawa is known for being warm, tropical, and filled with Ryukyu traditions. Okinawa, that's their name. Yes. Sapporo is the capital of Hokkaido. They make beer there.
They make beer everywhere.
I would think so, but...
So much randomness going on here. I don't think... Did I say anything random? Or in the game? Because now we just had a time skip.
Something like that. She had retired and moved to Sapporo, and of all things had started taking ballroom dancing lessons. He had apparently gotten really into it and had decided to spend the rest of his new life devoted to that hobby.
Why not?
He was aiming to get his instructor's qualifications before he hit 80 and live out his old age dandily. Oh? Who might this be?
Okinawa was the birthplace of karate.
Okinomiya is somewhere else too.
No, it's the same place.
It's roughly 6 hours away by car from Tokyo, I believe.
Absolutely same place.
Oishi suddenly turned his attention to Miyuki, who was standing idly next to me. He bent down on his knee to look her in the face. Oh, she even got character art. However, my daughter was frightened and hid behind my back.
She looks like the girl from the item shop game.
Oishi looks so different in that art. Can't get over that face. Yeah, console art still wins for me.
Yep.
Reset from Reseteer.
Yes.
Come on, Miyuki. Please introduce yourself properly.
Oh,
She was staring at Oishi with a dubious expression while tugging at the hem of my shirt. She's usually not this shy. I wonder what's wrong. Sorry about that. She's usually not like this. And so I hit her. No, it's no problem. This old man just has a scary face. If you don't mind, could you tell me your name?
She's seeing original Ooishi.
Yeah.
Okinawa, I can say it, is where Miyagi-sensei is from. Miyagi.
Wax on, wax off. Karate Kid.
Oh, I was thinking of the rat from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for some reason. I'm Miyuki Asaka. Come on, I was close, wasn't I?
What's her name, Tifa?
Miyuki Akasaka. I'm 7 years old. Oh, it's been 7 years. I forgot the year we were in. Nice to meet you.
Wait. Was it 78 when Akasaka went to Hinamizawa?
Apparently, yes.
In my head, for some reason, I was thinking 73. But okay. Great, that was a good instruction.
Great instruction.
It's your fault. It's her fault. Great, that was a good introduction. I'd expect no less from Akasaka-san's daughter. Oishi gently stroked Miyuki's head and smiled as though she were his own grandchild. After finally seeing that, Miyuki smiled in relief. Shortly afterwards, Miyuki told me that she was just doing what I told her to do. Be careful around strangers. Oishi overheard that and let out a hearty whoa, shaking his body while laughing and walking. I let myself into Oishi's car and we headed out towards the hot spring inn. I had originally intended to crash at Oishi's place, but Oishi was quite obstinate that his home wasn't suitable for that, so it came to this. At the inn, we relaxed while soaking in the hot springs, then ate a delicious feast until we were full. Miyuki had a little of a Mongolian barbecue and was delighted with it.
Oh, nice.
After our bellies were swollen, Miyuki grew sleepy and went off to bed. Then Oishi and I reminisced about the time we played mahjong together in Hinamizawa. It seemed that to celebrate our reunion, Oishi had looked for people who could play, but unable to find a suitable candidate, we had to give up on putting together a table.
Wait, there's no one to play anymore.
No, the mahjong is outlawed in Sapporo.
No, but he would still have his old crowd, except for the frontman.
Yeah, and what makes you think they moved with him to the island?
Yeah, fair enough. Not everyone might have time, could be busy, something like that.
Yeah, and after informing on the Sonozakis, they might also have accidentally fallen out of a window.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fair.
Well, one guy couldn't put himself together for a game of mahjong. Yeah, exactly. Also, good luck finding people that are willing to play with Akasaka.
Yeah, his head wasn't fully attached to his body.
What?
Couldn't pull himself together. He's been dismembered. The construction dude. What did you say earlier again? Welcome to the train.
I was thinking about Akasaka, but...
You really went to pieces, yeah?
Yes, you're all absolutely right, thank you. I was still thinking about Akasaka, but you are of course right. The damn worker guy got... yeah. As we drank together, we excitedly recounted our exploits during the final manhunt.
Oh, that looks nice.
Did they end up catching those two guys?
And it's nice to finally see him.
I cannot get over the flesh mitts. But also, it looks like he's just like scratching his belly really hard.
A little. It's nice to finally see him in a new outfit though, especially when like in the scenes where it was pouring, he wasn't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That suits him.
I'm wasting my talent here, as it seems.
Hey, I got it.
Hey, listen, Tifa didn't get it earlier. Now it was my turn to be late to the party. I'm sorry. He's dressed like the dude who gets shanked in You Only Live Twice.
Never heard of it.
It's a James Bond movie.
Never heard of it.
Isn't that one of the older ones?
Still never heard of it. I think I've seen one James Bond movie in my life. And that's the one where Adele does an intro and an outro song.
You know how little that narrows it down?
Didn't she only do one? It came out a couple of years ago.
Every James Bond movie came out a couple of years ago because there hasn't been one in years.
Skyfall, yeah, Skyfall, that's it. I remember seeing it, but I don't remember anything about it anymore. But it is the only... Yeah, it's the only James Bond movie that I've seen.
Do you remember when we went to Edinburgh a couple of years ago that during the trip we did around northern Scotland that we did go past the house that was in Skyfall?
That could be, yes.
So she doesn't. Okay. Yeah, she watched Skyfall, but not the movies leading into it.
I don't even know why I watched that one. I think people wanted to watch it, and I was just there.
Tifa gonna Tifa.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have watched it myself either. Now you can.
No, you now take a moment, you let me know when I can finish, because I need to channel the Ooishi voice from the depths of my toes. And every time I revved the engine to go there, you go, come on, go ahead.
Because it was amazing. I don't remember it being good. Like, a lot of movies I just forget, but I still remember enjoying it or liking it. With Skyfall, I don't. I also don't remember it being bad, to be honest. So I'm gonna go with it was okay. It's the final judgment. How did you like it? I'm quite sure you were there when we watched it. So okay seems to be the...
I'm waiting for you to get out of your system so I can read my line.
Yeah, I'm just talking with people here. No, I must do my line. I can't talk to people and have fun.
Carry on.
Imagine. Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, lead into it. Solace. Also good. I know the titles, but that's kind of it.
I'm pretty sure you've seen both of them because we've watched them together.
I'm pretty certain I didn't. Yeah. Have we? Yeah. I don't even remember watching it. So I'm guessing those were bad.
Tifa isn't the Bond person.
Yeah. Oh.
Stab in the stomach. Nope. In the end, the search team never found them. They were probably hidden by the villagers, then sent overseas or somewhere else far away to lay low for a bit. Ooishi-san, if I remember correctly, you managed to grab one of their guns, didn't you? Did you learn anything from that? It was a foreign military pistol. That's probably from one of the gangs in Kansai managed to... It's probably from the ones the gangs in Kansai managed to smuggle in a ton of. We tried to get a match from the rifling, but it didn't show up in any other cases. How about on your end? After that, I was removed from the front lines, so I don't know much. And in the end, it seems like everything was settled under the veil of secrecy. Why was he removed from the front lines?
Because he got injured, got a kid.
I think because his wife died. She smiled wryly as he sipped his chilled drink. What happened after that sure was tough, huh? It has been 7 years now. Yeah. We held a memorial service a few days ago. I've become estranged with my father-in-law lately, so it was rough getting everything ready. I told you. What are you doing with your hand, bro? He is resting it on top of his belly and the belt in his outfit. Completely normal.
Yeah, I'm sitting
Tifa, sit like a human.
super straight, thank you. Oh, there's at least 4 inches of snow on the ground here. Nice, okay. And it's still falling. Nice. Damn, I'm so jealous, but I hope I can get out of work tomorrow, otherwise I'm going to be in for a low paycheck.
Oof.
Okay, that is a bit less nice,
yes.
But I do love snow.
Falls everywhere but where you need to go. That'd be nice.
That would be handy if it like falls on a path around you.
Yeah. Or you now start going outside and you keep going up and down all the way to your work and you shovel the snow. So that tomorrow when you need to go, it's already been cleared a bit.
Just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going. Maybe don't do that.
No.
That must have been a lot of work. It was then that the hostess brought in the extra drinks that we had ordered before. While the bottles of beer clanked as she brought them in, we halted our conversation. What she meant when he said it must have been tough. Thinking about that was still hard, but time had healed the wound. It was the day after, when I phoned Ooishi to apologize. When I did, Ooishi almost immediately handed the phone to one of my colleagues who happened to be there. Not only was I injured in the brawl with the suspects, but I disappeared to drink late into the night without leaving any sort of contact information, so I thought he'd definitely be mad. However, all he said was that it was something he couldn't talk about over the phone and that I should come to the station as soon as possible. His wife died during childbirth.
Oh, and the station tried to contact him while he was out drinking.
They called his work called Okinomiya, and then he was out like, I love this village.
It's even worse, isn't it?
At the time I could only think that he must have been really pissed off.
Oh, but that means his wife was basically the first victim. If you think of it like that. She died on the Watanagashi.
Yeah. But when I arrived at the station, he said this.
It seems your wife was involved in an accident.
Having no idea what happened, I borrowed the phone to contact the hospital Yukie was staying at. After being given the runaround several times, I was finally able to talk to someone in charge, and after mincing words for quite some time, they told me.
Yukie Akasaka died in an accident.
The world became a blur as I sat there dumbfounded. Yukie's death was unbelievably abrupt, unbelievably sudden. I could have understood if there was some kind of problem during the birth, but Yukie's death wasn't anything like that. On the stairs, on the way up to the roof, she just happened to slip and fall. And she just happened to fall on an unfortunate place at an unfortunate angle. That was it. Wanting to blame Yukie's death on somebody, I began to think that it was an act of revenge by the Guardians, that they killed my wife and made it look like an accident. What I learned when I flew back to Tokyo, however, was much more cruel than that. Yukie had a habit of going up to the roof to cool off in the evening. There was an elevator up to the 7th floor, but from there you had to take the stairs to get to the roof. Even late in her pregnancy, when the evening came, she would always head up there. Her father had always said for her not to push herself, but Yukie insisted that until the time she had no choice but to stay in bed, she would be allowed to do as she wished. However, I had never once seen Yukie go up to the roof. I only heard that from her father and the nurses. That was because whenever I visited her, she would spend that time with me instead. I had the reason why Yukie went up to the roof from a nurse she had come friendly with. She had said that her husband was away on business a lot of the time, and that whenever he called, she was able to cheer him up and give him courage. But when he didn't call, she couldn't do that. Her husband might put on a show of bravado, but in reality he grew lonesome pathetically fast. She was probably just the same. Whenever he left for business, not clear when he'd be back, she felt very lonely. Whenever she cheered him up, she was actually cheering herself up as well. That's why, whenever he went far away for an important job, on the evenings he didn't call. At the very least, she felt that standing underneath the same sky, her feelings would reach him.
Damn sad.
At that moment, I remembered the words the girl had told me. That it was best that I go back to Tokyo right away. Otherwise, it would be something I'd regret horribly. Yes, that's it. Because I was away on business that day, Yuki had headed up to the roof. Had I known that this would have been the result, had I done as the girl had said and dropped everything to head back to Tokyo, I might have been with Yuki on the day she died. If I was with her, she wouldn't have gone up to the roof. The day my wife died was on the evening of the third day of my trip. Yes. It was right before the time I had the sudden urge to hear Yuki's voice and ran around the village trying to find a phone. The girl had gone around and cut all the phone cords. If she hadn't and I had made that call, I would have undoubtedly learned of Yuki's death at that time and collapsed in tears. Of course, even though the cords were cut, it had only put me off learning of Yuki's death by that one evening. In the end, I had learned of it the next morning. However, when I managed to put my emotions in order, I realized it was that girl's small token of consideration.
For a second, I thought she died like a bit after. So if the phone cords weren't cut, he would have still spoken to her and she wouldn't die. Which means basically Rika committed murder by knowing. But if she already was dead at that time, then it's just trying to avoid him for knowing so that he could then participate in the whole Watanagashi thing, which I'm guessing was important for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I would go on after this if I was Akasaka. Like,
there would be a lot of guilt involved, I think.
that is fucked up. Yeah.
That's hard. That will be hard to get over.
Emotional palate cleanser. There's one problem. The drive race salt ice in my car doesn't have traction control. Oof. Already missed one day because I was nonsense. I can't afford to miss too many.
Well, don't forget, safety first.
Yes. Safety and then
Then the rest.
Yeah. I have any rocks on, I can't get out to buy any. It sucks, but yeah, your safety, your well-being is higher priority.
Yeah, you know what? Send the snow my way, and I'll take it from you.
Yes, and we don't have to drive anywhere, so we're Gucci. That's the first I've heard about that. Yeah, that's the first time I've talked about it. Could have been a coincidence. She doesn't have any special powers or anything. Wait. Assuming that chapter 4 exists outside of whatever the meta-narrative is of chapters 1, 2 and 3, we should just confirm that Rika is alive. She doesn't have any special powers or anything. Present tense.
True,
In
but
every instance of a story, Rika dies. In every single one of them. Allegedly. We only know about 2 of them.
Yeah, but in a few years. It could be that the year where she dies didn't happen yet.
This is 1985. This is after the time of chapters 1, 2 and 3.
Oh, fair enough.
Press
A!
Maybe I will know. Maybe I won't.
Now he's gonna say she's dead.
Are you the one who told me, Ooishi-san? That she might be the reincarnation of a god called oyashiro-sama? Well, yeah. The old folks in the village believed that Rika Frude had divine powers.
Now he's speaking in past tense.
Fuck you, that's a party foul. Proper grammar is very important in moments like these. Divine powers? Which he had originally said as a kind of joke, but realizing that I was serious, he slumped his shoulders. I don't know if it's the truth or not. He said she did things like prophesize the future or talk about things she shouldn't have no way of knowing. But she was clairvoyant, that it was divine revelation. Well, all sorts of things. Of course, they couldn't give any specific examples, though. She prophesied Yuki's accident. where she tried to laugh it off, but out of respect to my deceased wife, he kept it restrained. Does it mean an active and capable investigator from the Metropolitan Police Department believes in divine powers and curses? Having him say that so bluntly, I couldn't respond. Of course I had no intention of believing such odd things, but he could only say that because he didn't know what I did. Since I met that other girl who both was and wasn't Rika Furude, I couldn't deny the existence of any otherworldly entity. 100% if that happened to me, I'd believe anything. Whatever it is, I'd start believing it.
Yeah, understandable. It feels like some kind of proof then.
Like either this little 5-year-old girl went out of her way to become completely in control of all the things that happened in Hinamizawa and planned the deaths of her family and friends and families years in advance and then enacted these through, I guess, her ties to Oreo Sonozaki. Or she actually knew these things were going to happen, and I have a harder time believing the first than the latter for some reason.
Also, I wonder, did we do anything with that information she gave us?
Apparently not. Maybe if I press A, we'll find out.
We just... fuck it. I know murder mysteries for the next 7 years, but, no one needs to know.
Of course, I can't deny that it might not have been prescience, but rather a warning. Not prescience, but a warning. If what that girl had said was a warning about Yuki's accident, then things became much easier to understand. Basically, the line of thinking became that it was a threat. Because I didn't go back to Tokyo, my wife was killed in a way that made it look like an accident. Not satisfied with investigation into your wife's accident? Of course, I suspected foul play. I pored over the results and even carried out my own personal investigation. There weren't any witnesses to Yuki's fall. There was the possibility that somebody had hidden, waiting to push Yuki down the stairs. However, the cleaning ladies frequented the roof to hang laundry, and the security cameras on each floor hadn't recorded anything out of the ordinary. There wasn't anything set up on the stairs, and I was unable to find anything suspicious. Maybe she heard an extra footstep.
That... No. I was gonna say it wouldn't be too shocking, but no.
In the end... wrong character. In the end, even after my personal investigation, I can't think that anything else happened other than a simple accident. Well, of course, these were the guys that took the minister's grandson hostage. It wouldn't be impossible for them to push a lone pregnant woman down the stairs without leaving any evidence. Oishi's expression had completely sobered up. They murdered your wife. When Yuki died, I thought that as well. More precisely, I wanted to blame somebody, so I created the most viable scapegoat. But without any clear evidence, that violent notion faded along with the wounds in my heart. Did that girl know beforehand about my wife's death and was threatening me? Or did she prophesize that death and was offering me a road to salvation? If I had to choose between the two, I would tend towards the latter. She smiled slightly in disbelief as he poured more beer from his bottle. Then, if I may, if what you say is true, then Rika Furude was a prophet who knew the future. If so, why didn't she predict that disaster? If she knew that the gas eruption was going to happen, why did she remain silent? Even a few hours beforehand would have been enough. If the village knew, then most of the people would have escaped without dying. Great Hinamizawa Disaster in Memoriam List. 59, Article 12, 31st of March 1984.
So the disaster was in 1983.
Apparently it was in 84. No,
the article is from 84.
No, I think it's like paragraph 59, Article 12. I don't know.
It's a in memoriam list, article in 1984.
Yeah, but what's the 59 triple question marks about?
Well, who knows?
was near the end of June 1983. Volcanic gases from the Oniga. Yeah, imagine arguing about the date when it's literally the first line I get to read.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it was in 1983, so I don't get why you were arguing about the 1984.
I somehow didn't see that.
Now I get it.
No, listen, there is big text on the screen in the middle, so I was looking there.
Yeah, fair.
Volcanic gases from Fuji swamp erupted and hit the village in the middle of the night. It was an unprecedented disaster where the whole populace was wiped out. It caused a wave of panic about volcanic gas across the country, causing people to overreact over any reports of odd smells. I hadn't heard of a blockade on the Hinamizawa area being lifted, so it should still be cordoned off. That's... It was my turn to be lost for a response. Somehow, the song playing right now, I could see that in a Zelda game.
No? In like a forest.
Yeah, it's the flutes, I think. Well, if Rika Furuta, the reincarnation of oyashiro-sama, was killed, then the village might have incurred the god's wrath, making him call forth a miasma from the swarm to kill everyone. And that explanation is what the survivors are whispering about. Sorry, ooishi-san. Did you just say she was killed? Huh? Yeah. Well, I don't think it would be a problem if I told you. When I saw the news about the gas disaster, I remembered that girl. I then found her name in the list of victims. That's why, at the time, I thought her own death she had predicted was due to the gas.
No, she even had said that her stomach and stuff would be cut open.
It was after that I learned from the tabloids of a series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa during the 5 years leading up to the disaster that became known as the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. And that string of mysterious deaths lined up exactly with what that girl had predicted, so I had always thought to ask Rishi about it as he had been involved in the investigation. That's right. That was the reason for our reunion. But right now Oishi had said, Rika Furuta didn't die in the disaster, but was killed. Can I ask you about the last year of the curse? I may be retired, but I still have to keep things confidential, you know? Excuse me, madam? Do you have anything cold that's brewed locally? High grade if there is. I'll leave a selection to you. Wetting his whistle so he keeps singing. Oh my, I didn't mean it that way. No, she laughed loudly, not wholly unsatisfied, and stopped the hostess to tell her that the cheap booze was fine. I know as much as was written in those magazines, but I don't know anything about the curse that happened the year of the disaster. Because the entire area around Hinamizawa was sealed off, you see. There wasn't much of an investigation that could be done over the last year of the curse. Even if after several years the quarantine is lifted, the villagers are mostly dead, and what few survivors there were mostly went to stay with relatives, their whereabouts mostly unknown. It's a complete dead end. How can the people who survived this, who now moved in with relatives, be missing? Don't you have to report yourself to the local authorities that you have moved somewhere in Japan?
I don't think administration was that well or that good back then.
Really? Is that a German problem? Not problem, but a German thing. Like when you move over here, within a certain time frame, you have to go to the Rathaus or the Bürgeramt, like the People's Affairs Office, and go tell them, hey, I've moved, because then they need to put a thing on your pass, on their ID, saying where you are living.
Yeah, but you now live in a time where computers are a much bigger thing. It's harder to lose track of people.
Yeah,
usually someone can't just disappear now as you could back in the old days.
Yeah, fair, true. Yeah. Who's gonna check the paperwork, right? It's gonna take a while. It's gonna be way slower than today. I'm back, German ID. Yes, Germans have IDs as well. Oishi seemed to postulate to himself as he started. Thanks, Skinner, you ruined it. Okay, fine, I'll tell you. In Germany, when you move to a different address, you have to report to the authorities that you've moved, because your ID also has your address on it. So they need to change that. And we just talked about people moving and being missing, as in nobody knows where they are. And I found that strange, being so German in my mentality. But you have to report where you live. Not in 1970s and 80s Japan, apparently.
I always find it so weird that in Germany you have your address and stuff on your ID. Think of the data protection.
That way the people know where to come to break your kneecaps when they find your ID. Now, let's try this again, now that hopefully Skinner's curse for me not immediately telling him what the German ID part was about has hopefully worn off. Isn't your ID just a driver's license, passport type of thing? Similar, but not quite.
Yes, but its own document.
Yes. And driver's license doesn't count as an ID for most cases. A driver's license doesn't have the same power as an ID.
It does in the Netherlands. Your driver's license does count as an ID.
Yeah, but you people also live under the sea level. So. We usually want you to keep your DL address updated, down low, where you get down and nasty and with it. Your download address, my IP.
But your ID is basically your passport, but for within Europe, can't take it outside of Europe. And same purpose, basically.
Driver's license. Oh yeah, see, that makes sense, especially after we just talked about driver's licenses. But clearly, today is not my day to brain. Thank you both. Ooishi seemed to postulate to himself as he stared at the ceiling, as if trying to work out a memory from the rusty cogs in his head. Then he said in a completely sober voice, "The magazines made it seem like the curse of a 50-year was that disaster. But the actual curse really happened on the day of the Watanagashi festival. A photographer by the name of Jiro Tomitake, he was the victim." Ooishi gestured about how the victim tore out his own throat with his fingernails as he talked. And the burned corpse of a woman Tomitake was in a relationship was found in the mountains in Gifu. The Gifu Prefectural Police were very cooperative, so I don't know much about it though. There were 2 victims in one night. Actually, see, it wasn't just those 2. You see, the next day, Kumagai-kun, one of my subordinates, disappeared along with his car in the middle of his investigation. Kumagai was a younger detective that was going to be partnered with Ooishi after we first met.
In chapter 3, wasn't it Ooishi that went missing with his car?
Yeah.
So you basically swap places with...
So I think we can therefore induce the information that chapter 4 is not the conclusive beginning and end between around chapters 1, 2, and 3. It is, but in a timeline where the events of chapters 1, 2, and 3 also didn't happen exactly like that.
Yeah.
See, if we move, we just move. Stuff like council tax will naturally get updated in the process, but you don't need to tell anyone you've moved, but for proof of address, etc. It's best to update driver's license, passport within a few months if need be. Stuff like banks are quick to amend your address. Over here, you have to report all of that yourself, and if you don't within a certain time frame, you can get fined.
You know the best thing? You can't even do it online.
Yes.
You have to make an appointment at your new city hall.
No, that depends on the city hall, actually.
Since
it's just... Since a couple years ago, some city halls allow you to do these things digitally nowadays. It's just most of them don't. We don't.
This didn't used to be a thing when I moved there 10 years ago. Germany is moving into the future, I'm telling you.
We live in one of those places of a 99.9% where you have to go make an appointment and have to go there physically. At least last time we needed to deal with that.
Yeah, imagine doing this digitally. And you have to fill in forms and bring paperwork.
Disgusting. Digitally. Kumagai also went missing with Ooishi at the end of chapter 3. I only don't recall that. I only remember Ooishi being like, yeah, I need to take a phone call. And then he was gone for the rest of the chapter.
Same, I don't recall he also disappeared.
Kumagai was a younger detective that was going to be partnered with Ooishi after we first met. He was going around the village to question people about the incident with Tomitake. He might have gotten caught up in something. If he was with me, he might have been safe. Even now it still stings. That day, for some reason, I did a real number on my stomach. I had to pass on going around outside. He got too close to the truth and was made to disappear. That's what I think. Kuma-chan was young and had a promising future ahead of him, but he still didn't have enough experience on the scene. He wasn't used to dealing with any complications. Oishi lamented the fact that he wasn't with his subordinate that day. So this is not as it was in chapter 3, because in chapter 3 Oishi didn't have a stomach thing, as far as I recall. And then the next day, see, you know him as well, Akasaka-san. You know Dr. Irie? You remember him? That young doctor from the hospital? I vaguely remember. For whatever reason, he committed suicide with sleeping pills. No suicide note or anything. The autopsy confirmed that it was the sleeping pills. Nothing was in doubt except for the motive. It isn't that hard to make it look like somebody died from taking sleeping pills, is it? Any possibility it was a murder? He was single, no prior marriages. It didn't seem like he was going out with anybody in particular. He was the coach of a local junior baseball team and was on good terms with the villagers. He was liked by everybody. I couldn't find anybody who would want to do him harm. Well, any chances to investigate were ruined by the disaster, though. There's no way to find out anything about him now. I can think of plenty of people that would want him dead. Like the entire Sonozaki clan. After potentially finding out that he gave away where Toshiki was. Then again, maybe that was all on purpose, because it did seem like they wanted him to be found.
But what was his reasoning for his death in chapter 3 then?
Whose?
Dr. Irie's. Because he died the same death, but later.
Teppei. Teppei was also missing at the end of chapter 3. He was not amongst the confirmed dead.
No, Dr. Irie committed suicide already, and Satoko and stuff found him, remember?
Satoko didn't find Irie.
They heard about it in the
about
hospital.
this.
Yeah.
Yes, but Teppei wasn't in the place where Keiichi thought he buried him. So potentially Irie went and finished the job one way or another and then took his own life.
Okay, fair enough.
Don't know what you just did, but it looked weird. Then what about Rika Furude's death? It was that day. Around noon, some of the old folks who were visiting her shrine discovered the corpse of Rika Furude. Murder! Before we continue, you should probably stop eating that squid, Suman. I'm so happy that my mouth was faster than my brain. Because I think I said it correctly, but mentally I was reading. Before we continue, you should probably stop eating that squid semen.
Could be a delicacy.
Do I even want to know what a sumen is? What if it's Japanese for squid semen? They eat some weird things over there, is all I'm saying.
Now I'm quickly gonna look it up. Squid.
Somen is noodles.
It's made from raw squid that is cut into fine strips.
Oh, like noodles. Okay.
Yep.
Alright.
That is nasty.
At least that's Ika somen, which is the first thing that popped up when people googled it. Okay.
Nasty.
It's, you know how people make zucchini spaghettis? Zucchini, courgette, you like do the spiral twisty thing and then it becomes zoodles, I think is the fancy term.
I also make baguettes out of that too.
Courgette. What did I say?
You said how people make zucchini baguettes. At least that's what I understood.
A, E, I, O, U.
I've made a zucchini cake once that was surprisingly good.
True. Zucchini and olive oil.
Yeah.
In a type, like a banana
And
bread
lemon.
kind of deal. And lemon. And to me that sounded like it should be in a savory dish, but I couldn't taste the olive oil, I couldn't taste the zucchini, and it was nice.
It was
That was really
moist.
shocking. Moist?
Moist.
Moist. Moist. There, you're all welcome. Ika somen is usually dried and flavored with vinegar. They sometimes call it squid legs. Bah.
Blech.
That bad? Oishi nodded firmly. The corpse was found on her shrine grounds next to the donation box, although she was probably killed somewhere else. That's because while she was completely naked, there wasn't any dirt on the soles of her feet. Any sign it was some sort of sexual assault? According to the autopsy, there wasn't any indication of that. What we know is that she was rendered unconscious by some sort of drug, carried to that place, and then had her abdomen sliced wide open. Her organs were deliberately removed and scattered about. Unconscious? Then she wasn't cut open after her death. That's horrible.
Well, I hope she did sleep through it.
Yeah.
Depending on the drug.
Yes. Because we had some insight into this when we went through the torture apparel and tools in chapter 1? 2? I forgot.
2,
in
I
one of
believe.
the chapters. Oh yeah, 2. That was the Shmion episode. Usually you do these torturous things to people who can still scream, right? Because that's the whole fun part about it.
That makes the
But you can
flesh
get
tastier.
But yeah, that you can get a reaction out of your victim. Why would you do it right when they don't even feel it? From their perspective, I don't agree with his thinking. Before Tifa again goes, "Oh, Jack, why did you drown your hamster, kill your dog, and skin these 15 people?" Now it's finally out. My full name is Jack Sonozaki. I am the third twin.
The
Mion
missing
and Shion are
son.
my sisters. That girl's prediction was right on the mark. I'm pretty sure she was more detailed about the other deaths that led up to her own. For example, I think she said that the housewife that was beaten to death on the 4th year had her head split open. Then, in that case, did she know that her own death would be so terrible? There must have been some moments where she wanted to doubt the validity of her own predictions. But as people died exactly as prophesied, as the years passed, that prophecy would only come closer to fruition. And when facing the final year, unable to struggle against her own destiny, her all too young life was snuffed out. And in such a cruel way. Knowing that her days were numbered and unable to fight the tide of events heralding her end, my heart ached at her helplessness. That's fucked up. Well, these Aztec death whistles were used cause the victims are usually drugged too and wouldn't scream. Okay. So there are some ritualistic, seemingly torturous murders where the goal is to eviscerate people, but not the whole 9 yards saw-like level. Are you okay? I think you need to take another sip of this.
No, take it.
Take it, it's good for you.
No.
Take it, it's good for you.
No, I want it. It's
Do
nice.
it for me. Okay, I could actually hear her swallow something because for a moment I thought she just put some in her mouth, spat it back, and I was like, enjoy a drink, Psycho. I'll drink with you.
Hope it tastes better than this. It doesn't even taste bad, it's just...
I put in 3 times the amount of water I'm supposed to. So it's very weak. If you don't eviscerate someone, what's the point? I don't know how that is socially accepted in the UK, Skinner, but... Usually we don't over here. It's kind of come out of fashion, I don't know why. About the way she died, it seems like it wasn't just somebody's sick tastes. What I'm saying is, I've told you before about how Hinamizawa used to be home to the demons, didn't I? Yeah, I think I remember. The festival in Hinamizawa village, Watanagashi, the cotton drifting, seems to stem from the drifting of entrails. It seems that it came from the man-eating demons ripping apart their victims and throwing their organs into the river. Why would you be a demon who's hungry for human flesh and organs and then go eat? Wouldn't you go nom 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 nom?
Well, no, because I like chicken breast, for example, but I don't like chicken entrails.
Oh, so they are very odd cuisine. They're only after the white meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You don't want to eat all of that necessarily.
Yeah, true, I get it. And if you cut into certain organs, they release some funky juices and that spoils the taste. I want the sweet meats.
Exactly.
In other words, in Hinamizawa, pulling out entrails had some sort of religious meaning. Well, this is according to the old tales in Hinamizawa, you see. to act as an arbitrator so that the humans and the man-eating demons could live together peacefully. A god known as Oyashiro-sama descended from the heavens. If I recall, Rika Furude was said to be the living incarnation of that Oyashiro-sama, wasn't she? Yeah. So, cutting open Rika Furude, who was a living god, would be, to the village, nothing less than absolute sacrilege. Absolute sacrilege? In other words, you mean sacrilege towards Oyashiro-sama? Rest you should know, Akasaka-san. The wrath of Oyashiro-sama would occur that same night. The Great Hinamizawa disaster. The official explanation was that some swamp upstream erupted with toxic volcanic gas which enveloped the village. You know what I just realized, Tifa?
What?
If somebody actually went out of their way to kill Rika, couldn't it be somebody who knows about all the lore of Hinamizawa and decided to end it?
Well, the chance of someone not knowing is extremely small, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Especially being in the village, because otherwise it would have to be an outsider that knew nothing about the place, which I doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it could definitely be.
Because I was thinking, you cannot beat Oyashiro-sama, right? Because he's just being reincarnated every 7th generation of a girl being born into the Furude family. But if there is no more Furude family, then Oyashiro-sama can't come back.
Oh true,
Problem
she's
solved.
the last one.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, if you kill her, you might not break the chain. But you will, because she's the last Furude.
Yeah.
I do wonder
Allegedly.
if we're going to learn who killed her in the end.
And then, 2-3 years from now, we get not Higurashi when they cry, but Tugurashi when they cry. It turns out that the Furude family actually had an offshoot of a family. They had moved to America and just recently moved back to Hinamizawa. Also, you're awfully close to me. Thank you. The swamp where it erupted was called Onigafuchi Swamp. It was the origin of Hinamizawa's old name, Onigafuchi Village. I'm beginning to feel offended every time I start speaking, you yawn.
I just beat.
Stop being beat, then. Be energetic.
Energetic yawning.
Stop breathing all of my oxygen. According to village lore, the depths of the swamp apparently led to hell where the man-eating demons came from. That almost seems too perfect. Oh, no. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There was another bit of folklore in the village. If Oyashiro-sama became angry, the cauldron of hell would open up and miasma would flow out. Oh, so they say. To the villagers, hell was at the bottom of the swamp. So basically the miasma poured out, smothering the village? Yeah. Basically, due to the sacrilegious way that Rika Furude, the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama, was killed, the village incurred the wrath of Oyashiro-sama in the form of that disaster. That seems to be their explanation. So what you're saying is that the disaster wasn't a natural one? Well, everything does seem to fit together a little too well. If Oyashiro-sama's curse doesn't really exist and everything really was just a matter of coincidence, I would doubt it. A wry smile formed on Oishi's face as he listened to my absurd take on things. He wore an expression as though even if it were absurd, there was a time he had thought the same thing as well. In regards to the religious beliefs of the villagers, suppose there was a more fanatical group among them. And that group created a situation that would incur Oyashiro-sama's wrath and enacted the disaster to make it seem like the truth. Of course I won't laugh. I've wandered down that line of reasoning more than once myself. However, even though Hinamizawa is a small village, it still has a population of over 1,000 people. To murder that many people in a single night doesn't seem realistic, no matter how you think about it. The gas eruption was believed to have happened around 2 a.m. Several hours before dawn. In that short amount of time, going around and killing all the villagers in a way that made it look like poison gas didn't seem feasible at all. What if one of them just... Wait, it was Oishi. He killed all of them.
He's still alive.
He just said that the day all of this went down, he couldn't go outside because he did a number on his stomach. What if the true hellhole is Oishi's anus? And he released such ungodly farts, so tremendously inhumane, that they were perceived as volcanic gases.
That sounds extremely likely. I think you might have just solved one of the mysteries.
You know, you can look this up. This is actually scientifically explained. I don't know the exact details. It might be wonky on that, but you can look it up. If you fart while taking a bath or under the shower, it always smells way worse because the water molecules combine with the gas molecules and amplifying the smell you perceive.
Is that an actual thing?
Yes. Look it up. Fact check me on this.
Need to test that.
So what if that's exactly what happened? Oishi couldn't make it all the way to the toilet. He shat in the swamp. And that's what released it.
That must be it. Write it down.
Don't shit into swamps, people. At least not in the Japanese countryside.
It causes natural disasters.
Imagine.
Someone's going to do it and then it actually turns into a disaster.
That will not be on me, I warned everybody. I literally just spoke out about that practice. Do you remember those Olympic Games in Paris? Where people made a website using AI to decide when to shit into the River Seine? Oh my god, what if they would have caused something like that? A volcanic eruption near Paris has killed the entire village, city.
There is absolutely a village. Well, I'm glad that didn't happen.
That'd be fucked up.
But that's because they were probably hanging over the river.
Yeah, there was enough air between
Ooishi was like properly sitting.
The poopy and the water. Yeah.
I think you need to press A.
I think so too. Swamp. The swamp.
Press A, not every button at the same time.
Still thinking of shitting in the river right now, sorry. The swamp the gas erupted from still had some religious significance, didn't it? If that's the case, then maybe there was something set up in the swamp. Something that could be activated whenever a divine verdict was rendered. I'm telling you, it was Keiichi yeeting Satoshi's bat in there. Butterfly effect. As the thing trickled, what you call when something, it sunk down into the swamp. Yeah. It hit a rock, the rock moved and suddenly stuff happened. No?
It's kind of scary.
Yes.
But no, I don't think so.
Don't mess with hell's anus. According to the JSDF press release, the swamp was declared the source of the eruption. This was after everything was thoroughly looked over by the investigative team. If anything like that was set up, I think we would have found it. It wouldn't necessarily have to be in the swamp itself. Come on, haven't you ever heard about it? The old story about how when a faraway spring dried up, the village spring dried up as well. What do you mean by that? Many waterways are connected by underground aquifers. That's the wrong word. Many waterways are connected by underground aquifers. Swamps and springs are only the parts that manage to pop up above the surface. So, what you're saying is that Onigafuchi swamp is connected to another swamp or spring, and there is something the villagers rigged up there long ago, something that changes the pressure of Onigafuchi swamp, causing it to erupt with poison gas. Is that what you're getting at?
If you just listen to it like this, that's kind of aluminium hat.
Yeah, unfortunately
material.
It's in a different room, otherwise I would have grabbed it and put it on right now. That seems very Rube Goldbergian, yeah. Where she laughed heartily, commending the fact that the young'uns have a nice flexible way of thinking. That was the former detective in him. Even though it was a hypothesis that he didn't come up with, he still had the presence of mind to not dismiss it right away. See, there are no bad ideas in this brainstorming session. That's an interesting theory. If that proves to be true, then it would be unprecedentedly the largest mass murder in the history of Japan. Once the quarantine of Hinamizawa village is lifted, I think it should definitely be investigated. Wrong character. Once the quarantine on Hinamizawa village is lifted, I think it should definitely be investigated. Ooishi-san, do you still have any connections with the prefectural police? Somewhat. I'm an honorary advisor for their judo classes, so even now I pop by during summer training camps and such. There is no way, absolutely no way I would ever go back to that area.
Probably not, even though it would be interesting to see the village now.
No.
Like this abandoned village feeling.
No, not
I would
after.
actually like to go there.
Are you a disaster tourist suddenly? Are you one of those people?
No, it doesn't need to be because of a disaster, but just abandoned in general. And then like years later. Like
Well.
kinda watch how nature has done its thing.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. See if it's all like grown over and stuff.
Yeah. Not the whole like, oh, someone died there!
Yeah.
Someone died there! Click.
Wow, 1,000 people suffocated in their sleep here. Click!
That's not the thing I'm talking about.
Snap! This goes into my cringe collection.
But when you see like these buildings being taken back, that kinda has something.
There is something, I don't know, soothing, calming about how nature doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Like, it just comes back and goes, mine. I don't know when the quarantine on Hinamizawa village will be lifted, but please, let me help investigate. Got it. Ooishi-san, how do you feel about the string of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa they call the curse of oyashiro-sama? At the time, the villagers were putting a lot of pressure on the station. The official stance on things was that the cases were unrelated, but each case was separate, each with its own resolution. That couldn't be. Even though it was blatantly obvious that the cases were connected based on the village's religious beliefs? Nakasaka-san, we can only say that now because of the rather grandiose way things ended after 5 years. At the time, those coincidental incidents just happened to coincidentally occur on the day of Watanagashi. How can this ever be a coincidence? The same thing keeps happening 4 years in a row. Coincidence.
Well, if you are the one that investigates it and you can't find a connection, then you can say that.
A real life, current day issue that I get mad about that is being treated similarly. Just about every single time a Nazi piece of shit performs an act of terrorism in Germany, it's always ruled, oh, that's an Einzelfall. Like, that's just one singular incident, that's just one singular person doing these things. For some reason that I don't understand, but it drives me mad, our government or our government bodies, when it comes to Nazis doing bad shit, keep going. We do not have an issue with a group of people doing these things. Those are singular, unique cases that have decided to do these horrible things. No, it's a group issue. It's a group of people. They're connected. We know that.
Yeah, but the likeliness that they're German is very high, and these things don't happen
Einzelfall.
by their own people.
Yes, they do.
Which is the same in every country.
Yes.
It's always the foreigners.
It's fucked up. I like the word. Don't use it that much because Einzelfall in this day and age has become shorthand for a Nazi killed a bunch of people and was ruled an Einzelfall. So, not a cool German term to throw around. Not like, what did you call it? Mürgesäckel?
It's a common word, don't worry. Nobody
Yes.
sees it in the way Jack says.
Yes.
No. Einzelfall is a super common word, and if you say it, no one will immediately connect that.
Yes. Yes, they do though.
No,
Yes, the connotation has shifted.
not from my experience. And I use it on a daily basis at work at the moment.
So, who do you want to go with when it comes to the German zeitgeist?
The person who actually goes
was
outside.
born and raised here and spent 35 years here? Or this person imported?
Who has lived here for 12 years now as well, if not, no, 14 or 15 years, and
doesn't
goes
even know how long.
outside on a daily basis and actually talks to other people.
How are you a credible
Rather
source? You don't even
than-
know how long you've been here.
Rather than the source that stays inside and does not talk to other people on a daily basis.
Are you Team Jack or Team T? Spoilers, this one is wrong. We call it an isolated incident. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much for the terms. Yeah. Well, I've lived here 0 years, beat that.
There.
Oh, there, yeah. See, reading
I heard the... I heard the cock
That's
move.
I didn't even move that much. Just, it would be nice if nothing happened this year. Kind of feel to it. Wait, let's run that down again. Oh, here. Akasaka-san, we can only say that now because of a rather grandiose way things ended after 5 years. And at the time, those coincidental incidents just happened to coincidentally occur on the day of Watanagashi. Just, it would be nice if nothing happened this year, kind of feel to it. Coincidence? The girl predicted everything from the beginning. Girl? Rika Furude. The child warned me about all the incidents that would happen afterwards.
You know what I also don't get?
He never told him.
He never did, no. But he could have started with this. Instead of asking questions to Ooishi, where he went like, oh, this is confidential, I can't really talk about this, ha ha ha. He could have gone, Rika told me this. Did that all came to pass?
No, worse, Tifa. I do fully understand why after learning about Yuki's untimely death, Akasaka dropped everything, went back to Tokyo. I get that. Don't get me wrong. I think I would have done the very same thing. I don't think I would have wasted another thought on any of this happening because I need to deal with the immediate happenstance of what just happened to my wife. No blame there. But coming 5 years later, 7 years later, after all of this horrible shit has come to pass and going, oh, by the way, I knew all of this would happen, or potentially happen, because Furude-san told me, is spitting in his face as an investigator.
I mean, that too.
As a
but
human,
if it's only,
fully understandable. As a detective, as an investigator, fuck off. Fuck all the way off. You allegedly knew what was going to happen and you never told us? Fuck you. People died because of you.
I can absolutely agree with you with that, but if it's just about this moment, he should have started with that, because now he's going to go like, okay, so now Ooishi told all of this based on the questions I asked. And now I go like, yeah, she knew. She told me. Instead of proving it by first stating everything she has said and then letting him confirm it.
Would you have believed, hey, this 5-year-old predicted the future? Not at first.
I think that could have depended on how you bring it, and they might not have believed it at first, but once the first incident has happened, maybe even the second incident has happened, there might be a...
Again,
Wait a second.
Not everybody at the police, because in chapter 1 and stuff we also had there's powerful people who don't want this to be a thing. But I believe Ooishi would have listened to it at least. Maybe not the first year he would have thought like that, maybe not the second, but eventually I think he would have looked into it like this. And then having like a roadmap, like, hey, Furude predicted this, it's handy.
No, but in this conversation, he should have started with this. Because now, all he will do is like, yeah, it's exactly like this now. Now, Ooishi told the story.
Yeah, I knew.
Akasaka goes like, yeah, she knew all of this. She told me. Instead of doing it the other way around, where it could prove that she knew all of these things. Because we couldn't have known this information otherwise, because some of this was confidential. That's what's annoying about this conversation right now.
And Akasaka probably forgot about it and lived elsewhere and didn't get the news about the incidents. Or even if the news got to him, he might not have cared because of all that else happened in his life. I completely get that. He didn't know until now that Rika was murdered. True.
But he did, because Rika told him that he would, yes.
No. Rika told him she would die.
I'm quite sure she said she would get murdered.
Let me check. It's been a while since we went past this part.
You can't see that here because it was in the conversation he had with her. I'm not talking about what was mentioned here. I'm talking about the actual night he spoke to her.
Yeah, but he also had a reaction here where he learned that she died, but he was shocked that she got murdered.
Yeah, learning it here doesn't mean anything about what actually happened during the talk.
Rika did mention that her stomach would be sliced open.
Yes, exactly.
I forgot about that.
That's kind of murder, isn't it?
Not if it's posthumously. Then it's not murder. Then it's fucked up, but it's not murder.
Nah,
it's mutilating a corpse.
No, I'm sorry. This was clear. And all he had to go with it.
No, Tifa, you cannot say things like this like it's the truth. Slicing somebody open after you killed them is not murder.
If you talk about, I'm going to die, my stomach will be sliced open.
Yes, and Akasaka thinks weird thoughts. We've been over this before.
Nah, I'm sorry.
Tifa's just being a hater.
I'm just fully disagreeing with this setup.
I don't.
I can understand why the conversation went this way, but I absolutely hate it.
Well, I've read a better visual novel.
Maybe I will.
Do it. Everybody bully her into doing it. Do it, I dare you. The world needs more good games. Do it.
You can draw it.
Yeah, sure. Akasaka-san, is that true? Yes. The girl said as much. That the next year the damn foreman would be killed and his corpse dismembered. Not only that, she warned me of all the events that would transpire in the following years. Akasaka-san, when she told you all of that, what year was it? When I met the girl, I was investigating the kidnapping incident, so June of 1978. The year before the dismemberment murder. Wrinkles formed between Urshi's eyebrows as he closed his eyes and began to digest what I had just told him. How is he smiling right now? Akasaka-san, if you're wrong about Rika Fruit and knowing the future through some divine medium, this is getting ridiculous. Yep. If you're just trying to shock me, I'm going to be really angry, you know? I'm speaking the truth. And the script behind the chain of mysterious deaths was written a year before it even started. And just as predicted, Rika Frude was killed. At first I thought she meant that she would be killed in the disaster. However, now I know that her death wasn't due to that, but rather an atrocious one at the hands of a murderer. She said she would be killed. At that point in time, she knew more or less how her own death would occur.
Do it, Tifa. Call it Ace Attorney 7 while you're at it, and make it about gay lawyers while you're at it. Oh, and let funny animal as a witness while you're at it.
Remember to put plenty of pff, 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 and psh, psh.
That should be the main part, yeah.
Also,
in every chapter.
It needs to be voice controlled, requiring the players to use a microphone, because the funny animal is a cat, and you have to, into your microphone, go pss, 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 pss. Otherwise you cannot advance the game. You have to summon the cat like that.
That would be I was going to say that would be an interesting mechanic, but I think Nintendo did that with
dogs and cats.
Yeah, exactly, where you could like call your puppy and stuff. I sort of remember. Never responded.
When the DS came out, my dad bought one too, because he really loved the idea. And one of the first games we bought, I bought a copy, he bought a copy, was Nintendogs. And my dad, I think it was like a chocolate-colored Labrador or something like that. I don't know. He named the dog Brownie. And so for the next 2-3 days, every day, we were on a vacation, he would get his DS. And he'd like, Brownie, Brownie, and he would play with the dog. And then after like 4th or 5th day, he didn't. He was busy doing other things. The vacation was over, we would drive back home, and a few days later he looks at me, he's like, I haven't fed Brownie in 2 weeks. Do you think he's still alive? And then he never played the game again. Because the pain of adopting Brownie and then neglecting him, because the virtual dog neglecting this virtual creature for 2 weeks because life got in the way was so painful he never touched the game again.
That's kind of sad.
That's my Nintendo story, everybody. You're welcome for feeling sad now for Brownie. He was a good dog.
Poor puppy.
Peak gameplay idea, Jackie. I stole from Nintendo. Thanks, Shigeru Miyamoto. Then why didn't Rika Furuta try and run away? Even if her death was already spelled out for her, knowing that she still had a grace period of several years, didn't she? She had plenty of time to try and run away and consult the police. Why did she just accept her own death with no resistance? I don't know. Even though Rika Frude was doted upon by the elder folks in the village, you see, after she lost her parents, she had no living relatives and lived a fairly solitary life other than hanging around with some close friends. Might have been she didn't have any powers to fight or anybody to rely on. She must have tried signaling somebody for help in regards to her own death, though. You know very well that the villager and the police weren't very amicable with another... You know very well that the villager and the police weren't very amicable with one another, Akasaka-san. At the very least, I never heard anything about Rika Frude seeking protection from anybody. Or it could be that she simply resigned herself to being a religious sacrifice. It could have been something like that. Or she wanted it to end with her. Because my biggest question is, if we really go along the mental route of Rika is the reincarnated Oyashiro-sama. Does Rika equal Oyashiro-sama? Or does Oyashiro-sama occasionally inhabit her body? Because if there is no Rika, the person inside that body is always Oyashiro-sama. I don't understand why Oyashiro-sama wouldn't try to survive. If sometimes, a Rika person, persona, psyche, whatever, is in control, I would understand why she might come to the decision, no, I'm ending this with me.
The swap doesn't really seem to be random or non-controlled between the personalities. So I want to say it's one.
What if Rika didn't just have a power of Oyashiro-sama in her? What if she also had a divine power that confined Oyashiro-sama into her? You know, like in a movie or an anime where good guy is possessed by the bad guys, and then all the friends of good guy that is currently being possessed by the evil come, like, no, Tifa, remember who you are. Fight it. You must fight it. Wake up.
Do it.
Wake up. And then she goes, no, I will die here to protect everybody else in Japan because Oyashiro-sama must not be let loose on the world.
No, I think it's one being, not the anime situation.
So Oyashiro-sama has a very uwu part to himself. Sometimes he just likes to act like a 6-year-old girl.
You can coexist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shaming him. There's a time and place for everything, and if you can live happily in the body of a 6-year-old girl, go ahead.
I also don't think he would necessarily survive. Or would try to survive.
You know what's even weirder now that I think about it? Allegedly, according to lore, the whole Oyashiro-sama broker's peace between the humans and the demons happened thousands of years ago, right?
Yeah.
So this is not the first time he is reincarnated.
No, every 7 generation, remember?
Yes, but how did that turn out? If you look at the history of Hinamizawa, shouldn't there be periods like every, 140, 160 years, somewhere in that range, where weird shit happens?
I think 7 generations is a bit longer, but that is part of Higurashi when they laugh.
That's deep. That's deep. That's what the other game is about, Umineko, I think. About the other incarnation. It's a prequel! There's no way that was the case. I spoke decisively. At that time she said it. She had definitely said that she wanted to live happily, that she wanted to spend her time surrounded by her dear friends. She hadn't given up on life, she had hoped to keep on living. At that moment I became dumbstruck. Is that what triggers it? I think I've said this before, but...
Triggers what?
Rika said she wants to be surrounded by her dear friends living a happy life. Every single time bad things happen was when Keiichi caused somebody to feel bad.
You have already mentioned that theory before, yeah.
Yeah, but now
But
Rika
not
kind of
Rika.
said something like it.
Not Rika, you said Mion back then.
Yeah, but wait, if I have a theory and it hinges on what Rika said, does that make it a theorika?
No, that didn't work as smoothly, no. And what happened to Rika that triggered the first Watanagashi incident then?
Her friends were unhappy.
Because of what?
Oh my god, that is it, isn't it? The very first Watanagashi, Shion, got hurt by the riot police. One of her friends was unhappy. So at Watanagashi somebody died.
But they were already unhappy this year and it didn't start.
Her friends...
Plus the attack had already happened in that year, remember?
Did it?
Yeah, we had a story about the riot police and stuff. Pretty certain that was already the case. After that it started to become more violent. I believe that is what the trigger was. So that can't be it, because then if that was the reason it would have started that year.
Yeah, fair enough.
And instead it was after.
I guess. Or could the first Watanagashi coincide with... No, forget it. Also, you know what doesn't make any sense in regards to any of this? Why did Reina have her breakdown in school? Where she took a baseball bat, beat up people, and broke glasses.
Well, now you're jumping to completely different moments.
Yeah, because now we just keep talking about Rika being the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. But Mion also went like, I'm actually a demon. Reina went the whole like, Oyashiro-sama, Oyashiro-sama, Oyashiro-sama. Everybody's been fucked up. In chapter 3, even Keiichi.
Temporary possession.
It happens when somebody eats Rika's curry rice.
Should have been another rain on my parade. Too late.
Good one. What's the matter? Nakasaka-san? No, it's nothing. I fell into silence. Where she folded his arms and began murmuring in contemplation again. Eventually he stood up and headed towards the hallway to find the hostess, yelling that he wanted a pen and paper. When Ooishi, noisy even though he was just thinking, left, the room immediately fell into a chilled silence.
How long do you think this chapter still is?
2-3 years. I stood up. It was then that I realized that I was drunk enough to be unsteady on my feet. When I slid open the window, a beautiful yet somehow ephemeral moon drifted across the night sky. It was just now that I realized she hadn't accepted her own death. She wanted to keep living, happily and joyously. She had said that quite clearly to me. But I was a fool. I hadn't been asked explicitly, so I hadn't realized it. She had made it clear as day that she didn't want to die. Wasn't that her cry for help? She didn't say as much that she wanted help. But even given that, it wasn't as though she wasn't looking for salvation. Without any family and unable to trust the police, she instead told somebody without any relation to the village, somebody from a faraway place, me. Help me.
And what did we do? Nothing.
She had gone around and cut the phone calls. If I had made that phone call and learned of Yuki's death, I probably would have fallen into despair. If I was in that state, even if she was looking for help, her cries would have fallen on deaf ears. That's why. Knowing everything, she had cut the phone calls. She wanted even a little time to seek help from me. Ooishi, just before now, had lamented that one of the younger officers gotten mixed up in a case, having been erased because he wasn't there. I was feeling the same way.
Imagine being asked for help, telling you several people will get murdered, and you just go like, oh, I forgot about it.
Oh, let's go drinking. Yeah.
Okay, not very much left if I recall correctly, but could be an hour. Don't recall anymore. Okay. Because I'm kind of done for today, honestly. Let's see how long this chapter still is.
I think we would have been done with the game now if Tifa didn't keep interrupting me reading.
You come with theories for an hour?
No, please, say it properly. Fiorika's. If only I was there in June of 1983. I could have protected her. In 1983 it would have been 5 years since the kidnapping took place. While raising the only daughter Yuki had left me, putting all my youth and passion into my work, honing my wits and courage, wrestling with difficult cases. Nothing like my failings during the kidnapping incident would have occurred. I wouldn't have been slow to react in a one-on-one fight, and by that point I jumped into a foreign mafia-run gambling parlor where I'd learned to deal with automatic weapons, let alone handguns. I'd grown so much that in 1983 I couldn't have even been compared to how I was in 1978.
Well, he was still a rookie.
That's why. If I was by her side, I should have been able to save her life. No matter what conspiracy or foul plots drew near, I definitely would have protected her. She, even though sounding resigned, should have still been able to ask me for help. I just didn't realize it. I couldn't realize it. Just as I wouldn't have realized it if I was told Yuki... Just as I wouldn't have realized it if I was told of Yuki's accident, I wasn't able to realize it. I wanted to cry. If I had taken her words to heart, I would have prevented Yuki's accident. And would have been able to protect the girl to whom I owed a debt from even a predetermined death.
But he wouldn't, because then he would have gone home and never heard any of that stuff from her.
She must have been expecting that from me. I learned about the disaster while watching television in my house. Until I learned about that, I had forgotten about Hinamizawa. In order to recover from the shock of Yuki's death, I had tried to remove everything about that place from my memory. What an ungrateful fool I was. Even though in exchange for saving her, the girl had told me of a way to save Yukie, I was unable to accept her gratitude, and now here we were. She hadn't died in her sleep due to a natural disaster. She was split open while still alive, killed while suffering the disgrace of having her organs torn out. She must have known before that on that day, on that year, she would be killed in such a terrifying way. The point is, Akasaka did nothing with all the information he was given. He didn't save Yuki and he didn't save Rika. He could have done either, but he chose neither.
Yeah, but he said if he went home he could have saved Yukie, and then he also could have spent his time saving Rika, but he couldn't because he would have never learned about all of those things from Rika. So he might have saved his wife, yes, but he never would have saved Rika in the end.
But then he still would have won because he still made... You remember the 2 boxes, 1 gum, 1 caramel?
Yeah, he would have made a choice, but he said he could have saved both of them, but he couldn't have.
Correct. Yes.
That's my only point.
And I'm saying at least he could have saved 1.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So we're both mad at Akasaka, but for 2 different reasons.
I'm just saying he couldn't have saved both, which is what he was saying.
Fuck you. That's what you get. But
no, he doesn't deserve that.
The fuck you is what he gets.
Oh.
How much of an asshole do you think I am?
I'm saying, like, that's what you get. That's a bit harsh.
Are you now mad at me or the Jack that also drowned a hamster and skinned the dog? What was it?
I didn't say anything.
You did though.
Yeah, I said that's a bit much.
You're a bit much.
Sometimes.
But even knowing what end awaited her, she was all too weak. A lone girl without anybody to rely upon, unable to seek help, had to swallow her own predetermined death and left this mortal coil. She said she wanted to live. She said she just wanted to live happily. That's all she wanted. She didn't ask for anything extravagant. For any person that was ever born, it was the very basest of desires. She never said a peep about wanting money or that she wished she was in somebody else's situation. She had said it. That if all deaths were preordained, then hers was probably also all according to plan. She might have been a lone, frail girl, but I don't think she would have accepted it all without at least putting up a fight. There must have been, in some small way, some form of resistance that she mustered. And with what she could muster, seeking my help was part of that. God damn it! I howled. I stomped the floor. Why did I become a police officer in the first place? How could I call myself an officer if I couldn't save a single girl from the misfortune that was awaiting her? Was it because there was so much going on at the time that I couldn't process the fact that she was asking for help? Yeah, that's right, I was still green. If I was in that situation now, I would have definitely been able to help her. But it was already all over. Even if I wanted to settle the regrets she left behind, Hinamizawa, as a dangerous area, was still quarantined. Most of the people involved were already dead, with a few that did remain spread around the country, unable to be traced. The stage of that tragedy was still off limits as well. The police investigation was put on hold, the case slowly being buried in the sands of time. Just like how I wouldn't have known unless Ooishi had asked me about it. I think this is a good moment.
I do feel like we're nearing the end.
Yeah, but then we also still have after game staff credits get together. So let's save that for tomorrow. Sunday. The next time we stream.
Just don't want to put the idea out there that we're streaming tomorrow.
For me, yesterday is always the last day I did the thing. And tomorrow is gonna be the day I'm gonna do the thing the next time. I have the same thing at work. On Mondays I always say, yeah, yesterday. Yeah, we did that yesterday. But I mean Friday. Chill, woman.
I am
Get your
so
shit
ready
together.
for this weekend. I have started sleeping shitty again for the past week. And I do not know why. I slept through for so long again. It was so nice.
Have you considered getting good?
It was very nice.
Oh, my nose is super itchy now. I blame Tifa.
It's an annoying feeling, isn't it? Oh, but yeah, we're near the end. I wonder if the after party will be with all characters, including Keiichi and stuff, or only
the ones that didn't show up. Could be.
Who starred in here?
I have no idea. But I would expect everybody. I wouldn't be shocked.
Including the new characters?
Yeah, why not?
Huh?
We have 2 achievements left to go. One for this chapter and then the after party. Yeah. Okay. We have already read all the tips, so I guess this is the final episode of this chapter.
Then I think Sunday we will actually finish it. I am beat, let me.
To work with a professional once. Yes. I would be shocked if we didn't. Otherwise it's gonna be a long stream.
I don't think it will be necessary.
Well, with how you were doing today...
Hey, there was a lot.
Was it?
I feel like there was a lot. Felt like it.
Okay, so here's what happened last time, as in today, on Higurashi chapter 4. So Akasaka, in the presence, went to Sapporo to meet with Ooishi, who he hadn't seen in years. He flew there together with his daughter, whose name I already forgot. Akasaka and Ooishi catch up. We learn, among other things, that Yukie died the night of Watanagashi. And they've been exchanging information.
Yeah, but they spoke a lot during that information. It was basically a whole recap.
If I wasn't so lazy, I would now cut out this part of today's stream and then set it up so that on Sunday, when it's time for the recap, I press a button and this just plays. And I wouldn't even do any animation or something with it indicating that I did this. I would just play it over this. So suddenly we both sit there looking slightly different in different shirts. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let Tifa struggle with a recap as I usually do.
I'm gonna write down everything you said and just repeat that for the recap.
You're too lazy for that.
I might.
Yeah. That's how you call Tifa's bluff. 90% of the time it's that she's too lazy to do it.
Very true. That is actually...
Hey, you haven't yawned in 15 seconds.
I was just going to... Oh, weird feeling that got interrupted.
You should make a visual novel about a person who yawns a lot. What the fuck?
That would be me.
Do we need to install a yawn counter for Tifa? I don't think we have enough screen real estate to put that somewhere. But just saying. We have this like spot on the bottom where the banner usually goes when we have one.
Sure. But it would be an unnaturally large number.
Yeah, it would be.
I can't help it, I'm always tired.
Then who can? Here we go, self-help with Tifa. Tifa, who do you believe out of the 8.5 roughly billion people on the planet currently?
I'm chronically tired. How do I help that?
By finding out. By asking why. By finding out why you're tired. And then trying to change that scenario.
Okay, because you always want late streams.
It's not late yet.
It's late.
It's not late currently, Tifa. Put away your shit-eating grin. Like, Tifa has the closest I've ever seen a person, other than like Jim Carrey, do to a troll face in real life.
Why are you calling my face a troll? It's my natural face.
No, this is not a natural face. This is your problem, obviously.
No, that's not true. That's very natural.
No. When you do it, when you have this literal shit-eating grin, you pull your mouth different than when you're just smiling or laughing. Yeah.
No, it feels exactly the same.
Well, it feels hurtful to me. I can tell you that much.
Oh. It's okay.
We have very little in terms of predictions, Tifa.
Well, there wasn't that much to predict in this chapter.
Yeah. Also, I feel like the deeper we get into Higurashi, the less there is to predict. But also technically the more there is. Because...
Yeah, but in a lot of cases it feels a bit like a repeat. So the same predictions still stand. Because in the end it's gonna be one mystery to unsolve probably. Why does this keep happening?
Yeah. I'm so curious how they're gonna do the second half of the game. With the answer arcs.
We're in that after this, no?
Yeah. It's gonna start afterwards.
Maybe someday we will actually see how they're going to do it.
It's gonna start after this, because if they're gonna do what they said in the after party cast review thing, starting the second half of the next chapter. That's the phrase. But then again, they also didn't say Himatsubushi would come in between. So maybe all of chapter 5 as well.
Yeah, fair enough. They might still say something about it in the after party again.
We will find out. On Sunday, aka tomorrow for advanced people. I'm not wrong when I say tomorrow, but I mean the day after tomorrow. Everybody just needs to use the word differently. Yeah. It's that easy.
It shows you about right. I'm stopping it.
Tifa, do you have any more nuggets of wisdom to disperse before you pass out right next to me?
I do not have an awesome weekend.
I do not have an awesome weekend?
I do not.
Why are you being a dick to yourself?
Have an awesome weekend.
This is why sentence structure is important. Tifa would like you to know that no, she does not have any further nuggets of wisdom to disperse, and she wishes you all to have an awesome weekend. Sometimes more word better.
But why more word when little word does trick?
Because little word offensive.
No word.
Nuggets. Psycho, we had nuggets for dinner today. We were trying to get rid of some stuff we have in the fridge and stuff. So we had some potatoes out of a bag we bought still left over. So we made a potato mash with cheese and roasted onions. We had some mixed vegetables with a bit of herbal butter thrown into it. And then I treated us, because going to the gym I need the extra protein. We had some vegan meatballs and vegan nuggets with that.
Psycho knew about the nuggets the whole time.
Just like Rico Fruity. No. He just didn't want to bring it up until we would, because it's an exchange of information, you know? Yeah. It's way too late. Is there still any way you can have nuggets right now? Because maybe you should. Fridays are for nuggets. There you go.
I remember so many times still going out at midnight with my little brother because he's addicted to chicken nuggets from McDonald's.
Yes. A couple of years ago we went to London just after Christmas. For Christmas. So we travel most of the day. We spent some time in Brussels when we took the train up to London. We get there, we have dinner in the evening, we go to the hotel, and then we're in a group chat with him together. He's like, "You want anything from McDonald's?" And I'm like, "No, it's like 11 already." Tifa's like, "I could eat nuggets." So we all got dressed, and then we went for a walk from the hotel to the nearest McDonald's so that he would buy a 20-piece box of chicken nuggets. And then he ate them. Then we went back to bed.
It's quite common. Put on too much weight last month. Oh, I feel that.
He told back.
I feel that. Now stop making Psycho hungry.
No, pro tip. You gain weight because you don't burn the calories you eat. If you eat all the nuggets, but you also do some exercise, you don't gain the weight in terms of body fat, but you're gonna grow your muscles. You need to eat to get the gains. This over my dead body. Okay, fair enough. Then change your diet.
Yeah, this was like the shittiest advice you ever gave.
I was trying to find the silver lining of getting to your buff beach body through the power of nuggets. That's all I was trying to do. And I'm not gonna put that mouth away. Do you actually see her mouth like?
It's my nose actually.
This is your nose. This part is your nose.
Yeah, but this is what's pulling it.
That's your cheek.
Nose.
No, that's your cheek.
Nose. I'm the one moving it, ain't I?
Jack is not technically wrong. Calories in versus calories up. Yeah, lost some weight in the past, 100% diet, no exercise. Yeah, fair enough. Do whatever works for you.
But it's a shitty life, isn't it?
Yeah, but sometimes, if you feel unhappy, you change something, and then you get happier again. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, then I get unhappy.
Have you been unhappy since you've started going to the gym?
Yes.
Since June, I think it was?
Yes.
Tough shit, we keep going. We already paid we already paid for the entirety of 2025, so you're not gonna get out of it.
Yeah, I know, but yes.
Diet doesn't just mean... Yeah. You change something to make the change happen, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, portion control is also shitty.
I just want to gorge myself every day and never gain any weight when I don't want to.
Especially if you're someone with me, like me, who basically does not feel hunger until a certain point. Or does not feel full until a certain point. Like I am 100% of the day always hungry.
That's true, can confirm.
Like I can eat 2 plates full of food and still be hungry until I wait for maybe an hour. And then I go like, oh, I am way too full because I overate. Like I don't feel that immediately, and then you just keep eating.
There is a delay between the signal being sent from the stomach going like, it's enough, to the brain going, okay.
It's a very large delay.
Yeah. Tifa is lagging IRL.
And that sucks. And then portion control. I know it's good, and I know kind of watching your calories is good. It's like the worst thing ever.
Firmware update. Did it help?
Oh, no, my ears itchy.
That's not my intention. Sorry about that. I had food and veggies on this side. Anyway, that's good. Happy body from good food. It didn't gel the way I said it, but you know what I'm trying to say. So it's fine. Communication is key.
Basically, yeah.
Time to go to bed for you?
Time to go to bed.
Press the button. Thank you everybody for Higurashiing with us tonight. We'll be back on Sunday with more Higurashi, the end of chapter 4. See you then. Bye! Bye.